Hello everyone, and welcome to the Battlerite Asia recap stream. This is a bit of an unusual stream because normally there's be the tournaments, and there was supposed to be a tournament. Well, there was a tournament a few weeks ago, and unfortunately I wasn't able to cast it, but everyone wanted me to do something with it, so the suggestion was instead to get a recap stream. So I'm just going to go over some of the replays. Well, replays. It's actually Twitch stream rebroadcast, essentially, with a bit of flair. So, yeah, this is the games as they were played and spectated. Unfortunately, there was a bit of commentary over the Battlerite Asia matches, so that's going to be quiet. As a result, I hope you like this music, because it's going to be just playing on loop in the background. As well, after the Battlerite Asia stuff, which will take about, I don't know, 45 minutes or so, there'll be also a couple of BPL matches that basically, there's a couple of... This Cinnabro and Team XD, there's one match for each that I could find on the Battlerite channel, and those I'll go over as well. Basically, it's more kind of an analysis, recap type thing. Not so much of a super exciting play-by-play centric cast, but we'll see how it goes. It might end up getting super exciting anyway. So the first match is going to be between Apology to My Brother and Three Boys and a Tadpole. So, Apology to My Brother, that's Kang Junpyo, Pinky, and Puma, whereas Clarinet, Yane, and Devilish are, of course, Boys and a Tadpole. And I apologize for the quality now that I think about it. It's going to be a weird double encoder thing, but yeah, this is a bit unfortunate. So yeah, apologies for the quality. I suppose I should have asked for some replays. That would have also worked, but then it wouldn't work with BPL. Oh well. Anyway, moving on. We have... So, as I was saying, Yane and Esmo, Clarinet on Paloma, and Devilish on Baco. Devilish being very strong melee player in general, and, of course, Clarinet being Clarinet, needing very little introduction, and extremely terrifying Paloma player. On the other side, we have Kanjumpyo as Paloma, basically just squaring off in Clarinet. And Pinky and Destiny, I don't really recall Pinky being much of a Destiny player, but I haven't really seen a lot of this recently. And then Puma on Rukon, which... Rukon, not a super typical choice that I've seen a lot, but rather, to be fair, there hasn't been a lot of Battlerite outside of BPL being casted recently. So it's a little bit difficult to say what is the meta outside of what was done in the BPL, and that's very specifically the 8 teams that are in the BPL and what they like. That being said, though, it's still a pretty good start coming out here for Apology to My Brother, managing to not manage to get the first couple of orbs, but still managing to maintain a fairly strong health advantage. Overall, just maintaining a very strong control over the center, keeping the focus on there, getting rid of Clarinet, making sure that they could never been in there. And the entire game, the entire round there, Clarinet was under pretty heavy pressure. I mean, they were doing a fine job trying to stay out of it, but it's just hard to heal, especially with an M1 healer like Paloma when you're under that much pressure. So very intelligent play coming out there from Apology to My Brother, and that gives them round 1. Now, overall, though, I also want to point out Pinky doing a fine job with the walls, making sure that the rest of the team had something to hide behind and defend themselves with, which is a bit of a tricky thing that you can't really do as easily with the roster that Boys and a Tad will have. Baco, of course, is the bulwark, but that's only going to last so long, and it moves with Baco. Also, hello, Berika. In round 2, though, I'm curious what we're going to see. I'm thinking Clarinet going to be going for a bit more of a defensive approach just because of what happened last game. But then again, they might decide, you know what, no, I can do this. I can handle this. Move forward, keep going in. Actually, no, being separated from their team, and that's already, at this point, chunked down a little bit off their max HP. Nice comment coming in there off the grab. And the Claw of the Wicked doing its job. But Puma overall, I think mainly the key thing for me is not so much Puma's grabs, good though they are, but rather just look how close Apology to My Brother is staying together. They are not getting separated. They're making sure that every one of their team members is just keeping themselves in a reasonably close position, so Kanjumpyo can keep healing them, and of course the healing can chain between them because that's what Paloma does, and they can of course get in any combos. Anytime anyone gets caught out of position from Boys and a Tadpole, well, that's exactly it. We get a kill. Nice Grimoire attempt there. It doesn't quite manage to find all that much damage, and at the same time, it's just so difficult because, well, Three Boys and a Tadpole completely torn apart. None of their team especially focused down. It's just, like I said, that coordination coming in from Apology to My Brother. Kanjumpyo is able to keep the healing going, while Clarinet, on the other hand, really can't do much. Anyway, yeah, sorry about the last tournament. I was sick. I don't know what happened. I woke up and I basically had no voice. Like, I took a nap before the tournament, as I often do, and I woke up and was like, I had no, my voice is gone. It's like cold, just lose my voice all of a sudden. It was a pain in the butt. So I'm sorry about that, Berica, but I will be here next week, and I don't expect to be sick, so we should be fine. At any rate, back to the game though, and it looks like we do see more of that separation flanking style play. That being said, it's worked out especially well. Pinky getting focused down hard. The entire time Yane was just going in the back lines, trying to get all the focus, and managing to find quite a bit. Now, at the same time, Clarinet is still forced to retreat, but that's fine. It's 3v2. As long as Clarinet can avoid that Ancestral Spirit, it's all good. There it is. We have Boys in a Tadpole getting on the board as Clarinet is able to, well, keep themselves alive, and Yane able to get in that back line and make Pinky's life miserable. Which is the thing about Destiny. I mean, you can't really get away as Destiny unless you get your counter it, and even then, it's really hard to get away, per se. So that is one thing Yane has as Esmo over the Destiny, is that Esmo's way more mobile. Yeah, they only really have Displace, but Destiny's got no iframes to get out of any sticky situation. So if they get surrounded, or just get put up against a wall, or just in general in a tight spot, they can't do much about it if their counter gets red. But at this point, Pinky clearly realizing, okay, they're going to be the focus. Yane's going back for them, and managing to get that counter, but also more importantly, managing to get Yane back, managing to just zone them out. And that's exactly what they need to do. Unfortunately for them, Kanjumpyo is taking some pressure, but fortunately, that Spirit Rift is exactly on point. At the same time, we see that separation continuing onto 3 boys and a Tadpole. I mean, this just, I guess 3 boys is somewhat apt, as it doesn't really feel like a team as much as just 3 players playing together. And it's working out occasionally okay, but this game is not one of those games that we've seen already rounds 1 and 2. But Pinky getting caught up, this is exactly what I was talking about. Pinky cannot get away. They got pulled in by, looked like it was Esmo doing the job there, the Chaos Grip. But still, Pinky managing to stay out of that. Oh, perfect counter. Getting out of the way of that Ancestral Spirit, which should keep them alive just long enough. As long as they can get rid of Yane or Clarinet, that will mean Apology to My Brother stays ahead in this round. Otherwise, it will be a tie, but it looks like Clarinet, such an easy target right now. They should be focused down hard. And yeah, again, it's really coming down to coordination. Although the Grimoire able to get Kanjumpyo down, but Kanjumpyo had hardly taken any damage. Really, Pinky was the main focus, because again, they can't really get away. And that's fine. Clarinet goes down. Pinky might be the trade kill, but it looks like that is not going to happen at all. Pinky staying alive. Yane's plan from last round, not quite finding the success it found in the last round, in round 3. Mainly because, again, Apology to My Brother, just keeping that coordination. They keep themselves together, and I appreciate that. I was actually just playing just now, earlier, because, you know, I want to make sure that it's roughly in my head. And I was playing threes with some friends, and we found the very same thing. It's like, we were managing to stay together, and that worked out all right. And, I mean, granted, this was like Gold League, so it's not super high tier, but still, that general philosophy does hold. If you can keep yourself together, especially when you have a Paloma, then you can do a lot of damage. Especially when you have a Paloma and your ranged character does not have a whole lot of mobility. You definitely want to have some way of keeping your team together and want to make sure your team is not bad. Ooh, nice Cloudly and Dying, by the way. Speaking of keeping the team together, getting Kanjumpyo out of what might have been a really bad situation where Yane could have been isolating them. And yeah, Puma just on point there. But as you can see, this largely is just a poke game coming out from Apology to My Brother. They're not really trying to go for massive combos. They are occasionally trying to get combos when they can get a pull-in, the Claw of the Wicked mostly, but for the most part, it's just chipping away at their opponents. As long as they can keep the pressure on Clarinet, Clarinet can't heal as much, and because Apology to My Brother is the only team really sticking together, 3 boys and a Tadpole often have one of the members too far away to be healed, usually Yane, and that keeps Yane in this position where they're doing a fine job, actually, considering the relative lack of healing, but they're still taking permanent damage and ultimately getting killed. So, that's the thing. Apology to My Brother, they've got that Paloma play down, which I find surprising, because, like I said, Clarinet, they are a long-time Paloma player. That's just their thing. So I'm honestly a little bit surprised that they have had so much trouble, but it happens. I mean, the team they're fighting against is doing a great job just keeping together and really playing to their strengths. I'm a bit surprised we aren't seeing Devilish move forward a bit more. I kind of get that they're trying to protect Clarinet, But considering that the main focus from their opponents has been stay together, kite, hold center control, don't really do anything risky, I think Devilish could still run not so much a separated play, but they could basically kind of push, walk forward, bulwark, and they're actually doing exactly that, going around the back, or not even doing exactly that, more playing like they were playing a croak. Going around the back, trying to get the flank, getting Conjumpio pretty heavily, both Yane and Devilish going for it, but Conjumpio is able to get out of there. So, nice try. I like the idea. I like the fact that Devilish is taking that frontline role seriously now. And Clarinet hasn't taken any damage, so it certainly worked. The pressure on Conjumpio is doing its job. Unfortunately, Pinky is able to get to Clarinet, and that could be a problem. Good time on the other side there, so Puma's still alive, but more importantly, Yane has taken a huge amount of damage, as has Devilish. So, really, again, this is just sheer control. And I really like that from Pinky, that the wall just to hold that orb. Simple play, but still, that's always good to have. You want to make sure that you take the orb when you can. But ultimately, like I said, this is just a matter of slowly poking and zoning out their opponents, and Apology to My Brother is just showing amazing play here. I half expect we will see a roster switch coming in from, or not roster, sorry, composition switch coming from Three Boys and a Tadpole, because while I don't think this is a bad choice of characters, I mean, Baco, Esmo, Paloma, that seems fine to me. It doesn't seem like either it's not working for them, or it's just not working at all against what they're against. I think, like I said, I feel like it's largely just the Three Boys and the Tadpole team aren't really playing to that composition. I feel like if I don't want to say Clarinet should switch off supports, but I do feel like Paloma doesn't really support this kind of divey team. Like Esmo Baco wants to get in the back lines. And unless Clarinet starts playing super aggressive Paloma, which you can do, I don't see the way of getting with that with Paloma. I could see a Sirius working with that. I could see an Ulrich working with that. I could maybe see a Xander working with that. Not so much for dive, but just to amplify the damage. Because that's a common thing. But I don't know, because the thing is that... Alright, well, let's just get this. So I'm going to skip over to the next game. It's a Twitch replay, so I might as well just go to the next game. Because it will take a little while. I mean, these usually do. It takes a little while to do the champion picks and so forth. So yeah. Let's see. So, back to the game. We do have round 2 coming in here, and Apology to My Brother taking first 5-1. Very convincing 5-1. So, I'm curious to see what's going to happen there with that, because, like I said, we don't really have a whole lot of shit's going on. Clarinet did switch over to Blossom, and Devil is switching over to Shifu. So, Clarinet's going to be on their own a little bit more, but Blossom's not a bad character to do that with. I mean, she's definitely being the bursty healer, dropping the trees down. I like that option for the way that team is playing. Not the first choice I would have thought of, but definitely a choice that supports the composition. So I'm curious to see how that's going to play out, because it is going to be a matter of how well Clarinet can kite. Because there's that pressure coming in there already from Puma, and that's the thing. Blossom can deal with that, and Blossom is actually... Wow, Clarinet's dealing with that, especially while Yane providing that supplementary damage on top of that. So, man, Clarinet is just a bait for their opponents, and that's getting Puma out of the match. Nice start coming in here. This is promising. I do like the fact that Clarinet has basically managed to be the focus to the point that no one else is thinking, hey, maybe we should focus on somebody else. Get rid of Yane, perhaps. Like they are now. They haven't for a little while, but still, it's a little bit late. We'll see what happens next round, though, because, I mean, Clarinet is still going to be a tempting focus. If Blossom does get the pressure and can't kite out of there, like they've dropped their hop, they've dropped their tree, they don't have anything else, they're kind of hooped. But Yane being there, just helping out their support, making sure that even if their support is taking some damage, that, well, they can get the free hits in. Yeah, that seems legit to me. That's what I was saying before. I did think that switching out the Paloma was a good idea, and Clarinet's gone and proven to me. Devilish on Chief was also interesting, because that does give a bit more of a backline support, because the other thing that they were having trouble with was getting in the back, getting to Conjumpio. And they still are having some problems getting to Kanjumpyo. That's for sure. But if they can get the combos in, especially if Clarinet can bait them out, but Clarinet forced behind that lockdown, putting them in a terrible position. They can get flanked perfectly by Puma and Pinky, who has taken no damage, by the way. Like, just now finally getting a hit. But man, that pressure coming from Pinky into that lockdown, and Pinky's lockdowns, really want to point those out too. They've been doing a great job with those. It is a key part of Destiny's kit, and I'm glad to see it used as effectively as it is, because it is for melee punish, and just generally for keeping people's control. Like, melee punish kind of makes sense. You expect you're going to use it for melee punish, but using it to block off a support, that makes sense too, especially when they just use their hop. But, man, you think about that, but you also don't necessarily consider then you're flanking. But when you get organized teams like this, yeah, you're going to do that. And that's what we saw. Oh yeah, sorry. Point out, this is Battlerite Asia number 7. This is the tournament came from. These are the winners finals. Yeah, it's in the, should be in the bottom. The number 7 recap, I think it's listed. Yeah. Oh, what? I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on. Okay, sorry, I think I might... this is just perfect. Why is... Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I don't know why this isn't... Oh, I know what's going on. Okay, sorry about this. Let's... I don't want to lose what's going on in the match. I've already lost a fair bit. In fact, I'm going to drop back a few minutes. My apologies. This is a very casual stream. I think that much has been made very clear. Oh, it is match. Why is it not respecting this? Yeah, sorry about this. It's... that's what's going on. Okay. There we go. Alright. Thanks for pointing that out there, just on we. So we got that sorted. Let's get back to the game. So, actually, let's really get back to the game. This match was clearly started interesting. Alright, so we're into round... Oh, this is round 2. We saw this already. My bad. This is when... Yeah, okay. Now I know where we are. Alright, let's get back to actually doing the thing. Round 3. Let's rock. So, there's Clarinet being cut. I mean, this is not... I'm not surprised. I did say Clarinet would be a good idea, or would be good to be playing Blossom, mainly because they can drop the tree in order to heal from a distance. Generally, because they're a burst healer, they don't have to worry about as being in the front line as much, or being near their teammates as much. They don't need to worry about it as far as not getting focused, but at this point, they're not getting focused. The pressure on Puma is keeping Clarinet quite safe. Yane's taking some focus, Devilish is taking some focus, but at this point, Apology is being forced to retreat a little bit. And Clarinet's not getting too much pressure as a result. I mean, they are unfortunately putting Devilish in a tight spot, but Devilish does have the ability to heal themselves. Tempest Rush, that's a thing. And the Orb on top of that, so nicely done. And the Tendon Swing coming in there, but unfortunately, pinball off of Pinky. That still secures the round reasonably well. I mean, Devilish, they're fighting hard. Clarinet as well is trying to make sure that they're not taking too much damage. I mean, Puma's a cross-skill opportunity, but Devilish is so low that without some kind of amazing combo, especially without meter, I don't see the option. And indeed, Devilish, fortunately not able to do much beyond that one Tendon Swing. Not a bad Tendon Swing, but losing Yane, that was a bit of a blow. Yeah, if that pinball didn't get that Yane kill, I think this would have turned around completely, because that in-cap... I mean, really, just if that pinball didn't happen at all, the in-cap would have led to a massive focus on Pinky, just completely blow them up. So, some good mechanical play there. Just, still, it's tough getting through Apology's really tight walls. Like, they're just really, like I said, they're very organized, very together. I like the way that Devilish is cutting around the back and trying to break that up, really putting the pressure on Puma and Gunjipyo. But it's still tough because, of course, they're split up, and while Clarinet can heal that a bit better than they could as Paloma, they still have to deal with that. So, now we're getting into more Devilish shenanigans in the back line, trying to get some Pinky damage. Oh, unfortunately triggering that counter, so now they're, between that and the panic, they're forced out of there. And with that 2v3 in the center of the map, at least Devilish does have an opportunity to get in without being noticed as much. But still, this orb is going to be very important. And the orb does go over to 3 boys. It's just a matter of whether or not they can actually make good use of it. Grimoire might be coming up, but there's too many escapes. No! The Tendon Swing, perfectly done! Great combo out of there. That does not quite even things up fully, but at least it'll help. So, strong ults coming in there, but there will still be Pinball coming in from Pinky, and they don't even need that to kill off Yane. They might be using that to get rid of Devilish once Devilish gets low enough. And Devilish is, like, one good hit from being low enough. Not even bothering. Just finishing off Clarinet, because why not? Yeah, overall, that match was just a 3v2. Like, that panic, that Spirit Rift did not do any favors to Devilish at all. Like, that got so knocked away from the match that at that point there was no easy way for them to support their team. 3v2 for Esmo and Blossom. Doable for a little while, but they ran out of escapes pretty fast, and, well, after that point, they're kind of done. Forest Sanctuary is not going to last very long either, not with 3 characters just completely wailing on your team. So yeah, bit of a bad position coming from, or bit of unfortunate position coming from Devilish. They should be fine if they, I mean, I don't know, the wall was kind of part of it too. Yeah, it's always being mindful of that Spear Rift. That is a tricky thing with Paloma. There it is though! What? Really? Okay, I didn't expect that to go off when they were in the middle of their Fleet Foot, but sure. At least that does give Devilish a lot of room to play with. You know, have another 3 seconds or so before that Spirit Rift comes back online. There it is! Getting dodged again! So nicely done, and there's the Grimoire, there's the Tendon Swing, getting Pinky some pressure. I mean, the main thing here is clearly leapfrog on Kanjimpyo, get the damage onto them. If they can keep Kanjimpyo pressured, then whoever's attacking Pinky is able to deal permanent damage. Currently, this Clarinet, and they're doing a pretty good job of that too. However, there's Brothers, Apology getting back organized. In the in-cap there of the Tendon Swing doesn't get a whole lot of follow-up, but hey, good organization is good organization, so I would say Clarinet, get that orb. Please get that orb. And they go and get that orb. Good. Because, I mean, they got center control. That's the one thing. 3 Boys has center control. They forced out Apology. They've kind of split up Pinky a little bit now. Like, they're forcing split, but Apology's doing a great job maintaining cohesion despite that. But, oh, those dodges coming in. Man. 3 Boys and a Tadpole, they woke up. They're paying attention now. Making sure that they don't lose too many stray ultimates too easily. But there's that damage coming in, and it looks like there's KJP dead. It's going to be Puma and followed, and that was very well done slow play. I mean, it was careful, it was slow, it was a little bit more pokey. I mean, like I said, this team comp can play much more aggressive, but against a team that's as organized as Apology My Brother is, and as together, like, as close together throughout most of the matches they are, I think clearly the way that it was approached right now, 3 Boys and a Tadpole found a solution, at least for a round or two. I do expect that if they continue that way, we will see Puma become a lot more aggressive. Possibly the entire team become a lot more aggressive, and as a result, there's probably going to be more of a force to, like, it's probably force 3 Boys and a Tadpole to break up a little bit and lose that safer play that they got. But if 3 Boys and a Tadpole can maintain center control and maintain kiting, which I say as they lose center control, if they can manage to gain center control and basically force their opponents away, then yeah, they got a pretty good spot to work with. Of course, a lot of that match came down to the fact that the pressure on KJP was impossible to ignore, but now it's pressure on Puma, and they did get a little more aggressive, and they paid for it. Not quite what I expected from this composition, but when you consider that Devilish was in the back lines that entire time, they weren't forward as you'd expect a Shifu to be. They were playing defensive, and that paid off, punishing Puma, and ultimately being able to leapfrog on a Kanjimpyo, getting that second kill. But mainly just punishing Puma, as Puma was at the time too far away to really get healed by KJP. So, when you're too far away to be healed, you take permanent damage. And very nice round. Like, great bait, great flank. 3 Boys and a Tadpole keep that up, they can even out the series. Because, I mean, Apology to My Brother, they did win 1-0. This is the recap of the winners finals, and it is best of 3. So once this match is done, it could be Apology to My Brother moving on, or it could be a 1-1 tie with a tiebreaker match being played immediately after. I mean, obviously, I know which one, but I'd rather not spoil it because I don't want to make it too obvious that I do know how this... well, I sort of know how the results... I haven't memorized the results, but I'm vaguely aware. At any rate, this does seem to, however, turning around a little bit for Apology. I mean, Center Control is pretty strong in favor of Three Boys and a Tadpole, but Apology is playing in a position that they seem to like. I mean, now they've got a bit of a split going. The Tendon Swing, no follow-up, unfortunately, but still there. Grimoire able to do something, but oh, that counter getting popped at just the wrong second. However, that pressure is still managing to get the split. That's all they need. As long as Three Boys and a Tadpole can maintain the split and maintain their own survival in the meantime, that's Pinky down. That's KJP potentially going down afterwards. Oh, the teams, Apology My Brother, they have once again gotten together. They have reunited. But it's just a matter of whether or not they get the kills. And no, there's that Grimoire taking out Pinky. That's all they need. One good Grimoire, and that is game. I would like to see a bit of a retreat coming in here. Like, I can understand, go for this round. But yeah, there it is. Devilish going back, getting the greens, getting the orb. That's what they need to do. Just to secure this win. Because it could go either way. But no, that is Three Boys and a Tadpole taking it. Possibly taking this match. Wow. Match point for them. Or round point. Or game. Yeah, game point. I'm not really sure how the order of that goes between game, set, or match. But I guess we'll call the match the full round's worth of games. Like the best of 3 series. Anyway. Third game point. And starting out strong. A little bit flanky. A little bit aggressive, actually. Being forced back, I mean, again, it's a bit of a brick wall coming in through that Destiny. So getting rid of them is tough, but Devilish on the flank, Devilish on KJP, pressure in the back line. I don't think this is going to work, though, because we've seen already that KJP is really good at stopping Devilish from doing much damage. Thankfully for Devilish, they didn't get too far away to the Spirit Rift, so they're still in the game. Their team is not facing a 3v2. And that Tendon Swing coming in there. I like the fact that the Tendon Swing is used more to secure damage on the rest of the team. Like, there was no follow-up, really. No one had ultimate or anything, but just secure damage on the team, that's all you need. Oof. On the other hand, though, Clarinet has taken a huge amount of damage. That does not bode terribly poorly. I mean, there's a Blossom. As long as they don't get pulled in like that, which admittedly theirs did, but as long as they don't get pulled in too much or get hit too hard, they don't have to be in the front lines. They don't have to be that close. And nice dance of the Dryads. That could take out Puma completely. At the very least, it forces them to retreat both for HP and because they're not going to deal any damage if they stay in the front lines because of that weaken. And Puma could go down here. If Puma goes down, this is going to go over to Three Boys and a Tadpole. And I got to be honest, I guess I didn't remember the results properly because I was not expecting that. And I've seen the tournament results. I just forgot them. So yeah, we got Three Boys and a Tadpole tying up the round. Oh, nicely done. Hey, Megatruck Perudo. Cool. Alright, Megatruck Perudo just popped up in Twitch chat. They're one of the best Battlerite players in Brazil. Which I know is kind of it's slightly unrelated, but yeah, it's like I also, along with TJ, who's unfortunately not here tonight, they've got to keep their sleep schedule. They've got stuff to do. They have other games, tournaments to deal with, and that involves having a sleep schedule that's not completely screwed up by staying up until 2 in the morning. But yeah, Megatruck Perudo is a really strong Battlerite player from Brazil. At least I've seen a strong one. I mean, okay, I guess I'll grant that there was a lot of things that happened with BPL. Like, it's maybe my words might be a bit strong, but gotta say, I do think Megatruck Perudo is a strong player. They clearly don't agree with me, but yeah, they're good. Mostly Iva, as I recall. So, outside of gushing over players from other regions who are popping into this other region, as I am from another region, multi-regions. Good globalism going here. We have match 3 on Skyring Knight, and no change in composition whatsoever. I do think this is actually going to favor... I think it's actually going to slightly favor Apology to My Brother, just because they were pretty comfortable staying together in an open space. We saw already in both, well, not so much the last map, but definitely the first map, we did see that as long as they were together, they did okay. Whereas Devilish kind of wants to flank, Yane kind of wants to flank, and with this map, they kind of have to flank through the map. Granted, there's also a lot of room in the center of the map, so it's not that hopeless. I mean, they definitely have ways of getting around. It's just that it's not as straightforward. It's not as straightforward as when you have walls you can easily walk behind. These walls, you kind of have to go halfway around the arena to do that. Still totally doable, and we are seeing Devilish just jump in, burning all their escapes in the process, though, so they are quite vulnerable. All their escapes gone, the Tendon Swing's gone as well. Nice dodge to the other side. Do have the counter, but at this point, they're kind of out in the open. At the same time, though, they did manage to, again, pop that counter onto Pinky. Pinky's counters have been really well timed, getting them out of a lot of ultimates. Because I don't think they took the recast right on their ball. So they don't have any other iframes. But that being said, Kanjimpyo goes down despite that. Yane and Devilish just pressuring them hard. Puma's going to go down as well, and it looks like that is what I said earlier is not entirely true. Yeah, there's maybe a bit of a favoring to Apology to My Brother at the very start of the game. Like, it's a bit easier for them to maintain center control early on, but that's clearly not the case throughout the entire match. Like, clearly once the match starts to get around the map, once people start to move, once people start to grab the greens and orange shards, then you start to get a bit more of a Yane Devilish game. They're able to move around the map, they're able to get those surrounds, those flanks, and just generally move freely in a way that Destiny can't, for sure. And to a lesser extent, Rukan, but Rukan can. But Destiny can't. Paloma sorta can, but as limited as they do. But no, Yane and Devilish can just go ham. Wait, they were... No. Destiny's Tall is the recast. The thing they changed with Destiny's recast is that once she does the recast, you continue rolling. So it actually was a slight buff. You no longer have to stop your... You don't have to stop your Morph Ball, even if you do that recast. Which is pretty nice. You get the speed bonus. At any rate, that is kind of a moot point since Pinky didn't take that right. What they did, however, do is very nicely avoid hitting counter coming in from Devilish, though at this point Devilish is with their team, so it's really just pure team fight. But that pure team fight is still mostly pressuring onto Pinky. As Devilish, I mean, clearly trying to get that back line, but again, Pinky just being mindful of that counter, not going for it. Devilish, on the other hand, proccing the counter off Pinky, and that's probably okay. I would like to see Devilish just go off and try to deal with Kanjimpyo, as Kanjimpyo doesn't have any escapes right now. They should by now, though. They didn't want to set it, but it's like they were 2-3 seconds away. But Pinky's got the focus, so at the very least, it is still working out okay for Three Boys. It's just a matter of whether or not Three Boys are able to actually maintain this, because I feel like, yeah, it's worked out okay. They got that separation pressure, but look at Yane. They're down now. It's 3-2. There's a possible cross-kill opportunity onto Kanjimpyo, but with the orb being taken by Apology to My Brother and full heals, it's going to be a lot of burst damage required, and Devilish, they can do that. I mean, between the two ultimates coming in there, they could theoretically target down Pinky or KJP, but considering that, again, Apology to My Brother, they're always together, that's not an easy option. Although Pinky having moved forward like this could potentially work, but no, it's not going to happen. Oh, meter was used. In both cases, EX is burned. I mean, it kind of makes sense. You want to stay alive, but at the same time, in this situation, you almost need to try to just go for that trade kill. It's risky, but 3v2 is otherwise kind of unwinnable. So with this though, it is... Oh, I guess people are spoiling stuff in chat. I didn't see anyone spoil anything in chat, so I don't know how this goes. Well, okay, I do know how this goes, but I'm not... Okay, I don't remember exactly. I thought I knew, and then last match just threw me, so I have no idea. Anyway, that being said, we have... Again, clarinets... I mean, they're forced back, and again, separated completely. That's the thing with Three Boys, is this is the kind of play that Apology to My Brother wants. They want Three Boys to be separate, they want Three Boys to be trying to find the room, but Three Boys, nice flank on a Puma, getting a chunk down there. Hopefully they don't get too aggressive. Devilish, however, being pulled in. Was that... I think there was a stab. I think it was an impale right after being hit by the Claw of the Wicked, but I'm not sure exactly what happened there. At any rate, Devilish is way out of position. No matter how that happened, Devilish is in a tight spot, for managing to retreat, though. And unfortunately, Grimoire not managing to find a whole lot. Honestly, I kind of feel like, to some extent, Yane's meter would be better used on Arcane Ward. Or, if not Arcane Ward, actually, no, with the character they're fighting against, Siphon. Siphon Life. I mean, Destiny can't do anything about it. I literally cannot do anything about it, because it doesn't count as a projectile, but it also isn't counterable. So she can't block it, she can't counter it, she can't do anything. She can run away. That's about it. But yeah, the Grimoire is unfortunately not really doing Yane a whole lot of good. That's about the third Grimoire this game alone, or this round alone, that has accomplished nothing. Which is a bit of a shame, especially when Tenon Swings like that happen. Oh, Tenon Swing into Grimoire is an absolutely cruel combo, and unfortunately they didn't manage to come up. Devilish, however, does have their own ultimate, able to get that shielding going, so that's something. They didn't take the healing right, however, so they're not going to be able to get back too much HP in the process. In fact, they're kind of in a tight spot. I mean, they can't really get in the back lines to do much. Thankfully for them, the orb is theirs, but Clarinet not letting that go. And the other side, perfectly timed other side. But there's the Tenon Swing coming in there. Clarinet going down. The shift across going KJP. And there it is. The Ancestral Spirit, however, is going to be nearly a death sentence to... Well, it is a death sentence. Yane is down. They've got no easy way out of this. They have no healer. They're at 20 HP. Like, I was surprised they lasted as long as they did. But quite frankly, Devilish kind of have one shot, and this is it. And it gets completely stuffed. Nicely done. The charged M1 coming in from Puma just to stop that Whirling Blades. And that's it. 2-1. Well, I mean, it's 2-1 in favor of Apology to My Brother. It's not over yet. But it's clear Apology to My Brother has figured out the adaptation. So, yeah, people are pointing out the players from various teams. Yeah, Clarinet is Korean, and it is interesting because, yeah, if you look on the Battlefield page, they're all listed by nationality. Because, as being pointed out by Justin Wee, a lot of the players, most of the teams, are a single nationality. But no, this is mostly a Singaporean team with Clarinet. I think mainly because, if I recall correctly, Clarinet was on the team that had... Oh, I can't remember his name. There was someone who's going to the... Well, there have been a few people who are going to the army, actually, coming out of the Battlerite scene, which is a bit of a shame. But, yeah, there was... I think they were on that team. I think both their teammates actually are currently... Like, they got drafted, because that's just how Korea works. And, as I'm sure most of the audience knows. And that didn't really work out too well. I mean, okay, it's obviously worked out okay. It's just tour of duty. They're out for 2 years. I mean, Battlerite... I don't want to get into that. Point is, though, that, yeah, the Clarinets kind of was looking for a team, and I would say they got a pretty good team to work with. I mean, at this point, yeah, great pressure again coming in onto the back lines. I didn't really focus too much on the match there. Really kind of should have, because that was some really good splits coming out there. I mean, we had Devilish maintaining good pressure, and Clarinet just overall maintaining good pressure. A lot of what I would like to see, but it's one of those things, every time we see it from Boys in the Tadpole, they throw any kind of pressure on it. Plish, thank you, Plish. I can't believe I forgot that name. It was Plish I was thinking of. And I want to say that, but unfortunately my documents are not open right now, so I haven't checked. Yeah. At any rate, with that said, though, it's... Ooh, Devilish going in the back lines, playing it very risky. They have, I think, their counter left. Yeah, there's the counter. And that is it. But wisely retreating, so it's not a big deal. Yane taking the pressure instead, and getting that front line, not managing to do much to consume, stopping basically everything they like to throw out there. Ooh, but that counter stopping the charge play, so Devilish still on point there. But nothing really positionally going in their favor. Everyone has enough escapes that they're not really getting caught out in a bad position to be comboed. So ultimately, not much is going to stop really anyone from doing anything. They're just getting in, dealing some damage. That damage is being healed up. So overall, just chipping away. Apology to My Brother is chipping away at Three Boys in the Tadpole more than Three Boys in the Tadpole is chipping away at them. And this is what I was saying before. Like, Three Boys in the Tadpole is kind of more of a, in theory, push in and kill composition. They just can't really do that. Not against this team. Not against that Paloma. Not against the Rukon. Definitely with the Destiny. Like, Destiny's kind of stopping a lot of the poking play. But it's still been pretty clear that when they can get the pokes in, it works really well. And they can get someone like this. This situation is great for them. Unfortunately, unfortunately for them, fortunately for Apology to My Brother, Pinky running in to save Puma. Because Puma was in a great position to be comboed, but it just didn't work out. Still, the Pinky getting punished for saving their teammate, losing their life in the process, or at least for this round. And that could very well be the win. It's a bit tricky to say because the cross-kill opportunity is available. Yane could go down. Actually, there's like 3 possible cross-kills right in a row, potentially. But KJP, no. With KJP going down, that is going to be it. Actually, KJP surprisingly staying alive longer than I expected. But there's Yane rushing in, to help finish off, and that is it. Tendon swing into the Grimoire. That's what I was wanting to see earlier, and we're seeing it now to get at least 1 kill, secure that 5th round, and secure the advantage for 3 boys in a tadpole. So, 3 boys, we've seen already, they are clearly fairly comfortable being separated. I kind of harp on that because it does seem to be where they have trouble is when they're separated. But I don't know. It seems like they're actually doing okay. So this is, yeah, okay. Actually, this is the winners finals, right? I've got a bad feeling I actually screwed up slightly, and what we're watching is the grand finals, which is why I was confused about the results earlier. Regardless, yeah, it's still a pretty good match. I mean, I can't say I'm sad about this, but yeah, I have a bad feeling that I actually picked the wrong one. Oh well. At any rate, we do have, well, a nice split. This is exactly the thing I was talking about. The comfort with split coming out there from 3 boys and a tadpole. Devilish, however, taking a lot of punish, a massive amount of punish. They have no escapes left. That tendon swing was perfect. Unfortunately, no follow-up available for that. Grimoire was not available. Ew, just barely, too. If it was, that would have been amazing. But even then, it would have been an evening out amazing. It would have been the best timing for it. But hey, Devilish is more or less back on track. If they get those greens, which, oh, Yane grabbed them instead. Kind of wish Devilish had grabbed those. Would have put them in a great situation, but unfortunately they didn't manage to. So at any rate, we do have another round possibly going in favor of 3 boys and a tadpole, as KJP again getting all that pressure. Yane and Devilish doing a great job maintaining that pressure. But yeah, it looks like this is grand finals. My bad. Sorry. This is grand finals, not winners finals. I actually kind of wanted to see the... Oh well. Yeah, unfortunately the stream wasn't really marked, so I had to kind of guess based on the team compositions. And the winners finals and grand finals had the same team compositions. Or sorry, the same teams facing each other. Which means I kind of wanted to do the lower bracket finals, but I think at this point that's a little bit of a foregone conclusion. I'll probably just move on to the B... Sure want to do the winners? I feel like at this point I should just move on to the BPL matches. Those are going to take an hour each, so it might not be a bad idea. Although, I kind of missed that... Actually, never mind, we turned this around completely. Apology to my brother managing to turn this around, getting that cross kill onto... Well, getting cross kills back into the game, basically. Devilish trying everything they can to stay alive. They do shut up Tempest Rush. There it is. But this is a question of how they can turn that into a kill, because really... Oh, that... I don't know. That Kunju got popped. That Kunju got popped, they would have taken out Pinky. But that's not happening. Nah, it's Puma and Pinky, they're expecting that. Like, unless there's an on-reaction counter pop, it's not going to be procced. So yeah, apology to my brother, evening things out. Okay, it looks like we might be doing another Battlerite Asia number 7 match before we end, despite the fact that it's a foregone conclusion. Just on, it looks like they're trying to see if they find one that looked good. Gotta be honest though, this game has looked really good, so I can't say I'm complaining. I mean... Anyway, anyway, getting back to the game though, Puma is getting pretty hard punished here. He pulled forward by the Chaos Grip, and just overall not able to help out as Devilish goes in the back lines. Unfortunately for Devilish, not able to get that hook, so taking some damage, but still I like that. They escaped before it was too late. They still, I think, have Kunju. And there it is, getting popped as well. Nicely done, getting good punish on that. They should still have Fleetfoot. But there it is. So now they're in a tricky position. They have nothing left to get out of here. They have the harpoons, but no, they don't have those anymore. They just use both. So yeah, Devilish, they're escaping, but I do feel like that was a little bit late, just because they did burn all their escapes in order to get in. They kind of had to take a bit more damage than I'm sure they would have liked to. At any rate, though, they're still alive. They just haven't been able to get any of the greens. Puma going in for the ultimate. That is hella punishable. No, not punishable. Oh, just barely getting out of that Boom Bloom seed. If it weren't for that, Puma very well would have been dead, but it was for that. And at this point, that should put Apology to My Brother ahead by a round. Put him on to tournament point, really. Okay, so there's another match that's Grey Rain versus Rain Waltz. That is going to be up next, which was apparently around the 2-hour mark. And, okay, cool. So, I'll check that out afterwards. And then we'll go into the BPL stuff. See, I expect this to take another, like, I don't know, it's a good... I guess in that match probably take like 20, 25 minutes. Let's see, 11:10, probably like 11:43 or something. Okay, there we go. That's the nice thing about doing it after the fact, to some extent, is that you just go. Doesn't matter. So, let's see. What is Three Boys and Tapple gonna do here? They are down around, they need to find their way back in, and Puma had a pretty strong start, so Yane, while able to deal some damage, has taken a lot of punishment in the process. Ooh, Devilish managing to avoid that counter. Nice punish on a Pinky. There's the tendon swing, there's the surround coming in from Yane, and that is amazing. I mean, the counter's back up for Pinky, so they gotta be careful. But hey, still, half HP, and another counter being completely whiffed. So that is perfect. This round is going amazingly for Three Boys and a Tadpole. The Grimoire able to get 2 hits. I mean, that Grimoire has been having a very difficult time doing anything thus far, so that double hit getting in there that's just perfect. Knocking back to the entrance as well. I kind of wish that we didn't see Three Boys and a Tadpole go into the entrance, though. I think that might be the one thing that puts them in a bad spot. At this point, Clarinet's the only member of the team that's halfway decent on HP. Yane and Devilish both are one good combo away from dying. And I mean, one mediocre combo away from dying, honestly. Doesn't even have to be a combo, just like 2 or 3 shots at the same time. And that's the tricky thing. Yane clearly being very careful as a result, focused on playing behind that wall to make sure they don't lose anything. But the problem is that you kind of have to move forward. And this team, like I said, they got some poke abilities, but their entire game plan is focus someone, get them in a position where they got nothing to escape with, and then punish them hard. There's the tendon swing, though. That's the hard to punish. But it feels like a little bit of miscoordination. The end cap didn't... it should have lasted long enough. Either way, though, that should be game. It's a bit of a shame that Yane had to go down there, but again, Yane was so low for most of that round. I'm actually kind of surprised they lasted as long as they did. And with that, Devilish trying for some cross kills. Not gonna happen. So yeah, that was a very strong match, though. I mean, Three Boys and a Tadpole constantly making it close. And apart from the first round of the Paloma, or first game with the Paloma, the Blossom did work out really well. Like, the only downside is that it's just kind of tricky if Devilish or Yane gets called out and punished. It can be tricky, but whenever they manage to get Puma in a bad spot or avoid hitting Pinky's counter, yeah, that was a good 30-40% damage, no problem. So yeah, we're gonna move on from here though to an earlier match because I didn't realize I was in Grand Finals. And I think this is lower bracket. I have to double check who exactly is who because I didn't expect to be doing this match, so I don't know the tournament offhand, or the teams offhand. So it's Grey Rain versus no, which one is it? Grey Rain versus I don't know. So Grey Rain versus Rain Waltz. I don't see Rain Waltz, unless they mean Yeah, they do mean Wah. Okay, cool. Actually, this is a match I wanted to do anyway. Never mind. So we're good. Yeah, this is the lower bracket pre-finals. as I like to call them anyway. All right, cool. So let's see. We have. Are we on that match? And it looks like we are. Cool. So yeah, this is going to be the lower bracket pre-finals between... Oops. Should actually put the team names in properly. I think that's enough A's. No, that's one too many A's. There we go. 7 A's. Ah! Not ah! Very specific. So moving on, we have Blossom, Varesh, and Older. Ooh, double support coming out from Grey Rain. Oh wait, no, I've got that backwards. Wait, no I don't. What's going on here? Oh, I do have that backwards. Alright. We're good now. So from we have, like I said, Blossom, Varesh, and Older. Double support coming in there with Varesh. Very, very backline. I mean, Older, okay, they're not bad for damage, but facing against a Croak, I do not envy Tomio right now. Croak against Older has a pretty easy time just because you can camouflage in and then go around the back, and the shield means nothing. As we see right now, actually. Unfortunately for them, though, double support does mean that's a lot of healing. And at the same time, Jumong... Okay, Jumong's got good burst. Croak has decent burst. I mean, their burst is largely built around the camouflage, which is having a bit of a hard time landing right now. Older, I mean, they have decent burst off the quicksand, but it's like no one really has an easy way of getting their opponents down below about 40 HP. Like, just not before getting healed. Even with Croak, between the two healers, as Croak comes in with the camouflage, they can just heal the other one, and yeah, it doesn't deal as much damage. However, that split coming in there, making sure that... Oh, I didn't... Kotori. Make sure Kotori can't get into a... Well, can't really heal, that's the point. Split out Kotori, or split out Tomio, either way. Split out one of them, and there's the turnaround. And there's the burst coming in from the steady shot. Actually, that wasn't steady shot, that was Dragon Slayer, I believe. But either way, the burst is the important thing, and that does take out Tomio. And that leaves Kotori being the only support left. So I could see Kotori... I don't know, I could see maybe a cross kill onto Hokugan because... Or Hokugan. Actually, no, not Hokugan. No, getting it onto Adril. So that does only leave Hokugan in death. In a 2v2 with no healers against a healer and Varesh. I mean, you gotta burst through that and deal with Varesh. The counter's down, though. So there's nothing really Rainy Walls can do, but they're not the focus either. However, it looks like there's just some delays. I mean, we're not going to see Venom win just because... Oh, now, there it is. There's the Venom win. I was about to say, as soon as you see the kinetic strike, or kinetic energy rather, that is Venom win coming in there. But unfortunately, I don't see Death surviving that. Just, again, lack of a healer means that while they can deal some good burst damage, there's only so much that Grey Rain can really do in this match, at least in this round. But that's fine, because, you know, there's at least 4 other rounds. Possibly 8 other rounds, depending on how it goes. What's their name? Oh. Kotori Tofu. Okay, it's a bit hard to read in the corner there. Yes, I can read Hiragana. Anyway, I can read a lot of I can read Kana and Hangul. So, Korean and some Japanese is covered. Yeah, and before someone throws in a name full of kanji, then I might be okay, but it depends. At any rate, the glyphs aside, match starting out again, much more aggressive coming here from Hokugan. I mean, clearly they just want to get whatever pressure they can, and they're finding quite a bit. Tomio forced back, taking fairly chunks of damage. This is working out a lot better than it was before. Like, before we saw Tomio, they were just getting healed up all the time, no real damage was being dealt, same with Kotori, but now it's just the pressure coming in there, Hokugan finding everything they need, and dodging the stone glass. Nicely done. So that leaves basically just a matter of, you know, good steady shot, good camouflage, possibly, no, Death's not got Dragon Slayer, got the energy for that. But still, what they do have energy for is gonna be quite useful. As soon as Kotori Tofu is hit by there's a Venom Wind. Oh no, camouflage though, able to dodge that. And the time travel on top of that as well to dodge the Venom Wind and put Hokugan in a slightly awful situation, but only slightly awful. Not awful enough. Oh, actually maybe, no, there's the Dragon Slayer off the end cap, off of that deceit. So overall they're hyper aggressive from Hokugan, but it worked. I mean, that's the thing, this team has to put the pressure on so that their opponents are stuck burning all their healing. Because Older doesn't have a whole lot of healing charges. And I'm not sure what rights they went for. Because Older does have a right where they can throw, or anything to get off quicksand will get them extra healing charges, but it looks like they didn't take that. So yeah, Tomio can't get any extra healing charges, so as soon as they use their 3 healing charges, they're waiting for like 5-6 seconds. And that's, okay, it's less than that because their teammates are nearby. But still, they're waiting for a while. Blossom's a little bit faster at healing up, but still, you burn your opponent's healing charges, get that Croak in there, get them scared, and especially if you can separate them enough that they can't even really heal, then that's great. That's exactly what you want. And again, there's that Hokugan going in the back lines, wanting to get Tomio in a tight spot, and that's exactly what they're doing. And I mean, I like the fact that Death is just applying that extra pressure, because Tomio can only do so much. I mean, Tomio gets in, fires off 4 swings, and then they can't really do much more until they get back and recover a bit. Then, of course, you have the back line coming in with Death, just applying that extra bit of damage. And that's exactly what they need. So, given that, though, I still like the way that is fighting back. They actually have health parity. I mean, okay, Kotoda Tofu took a fair amount of damage there from the Dragon Slayer, but that's fine. They were decently high HP. And, oh, nice dance the Dryads getting to, getting the weaken on the 2 damage dealers as well. Or 2 main damage dealers, not to discredit older. But more so, just thanks to that, I mean, they're already out of position. Now at this point, there's not a whole lot that Adriel has. Adriel could very well go down there, though it would be a cross kill. Unfortunately, of course, Adriel is the only healer on that team, but good orb grab. So at the very least, Grey Rain is not out of this yet. Actually, Grey Rain's at the advantage. What am I saying? Grey Rain has a massive advantage here. Is the one who's playing in the back foot. In fact, they're at game point. I mean, unless, of course, there's an amazing 3v1 coming out here from Rainy Waltz, but it looks like that's not happening. So yeah, it's game point for Grey Rain. I think it's point stage best of 1. I don't remember the exact rules. I think it's best of... No, it's best of 3, win score 3. Justin, could you confirm that, please? I believe it's best of 3, win score 3 before the finals. Not best of 1, win score 3. But I'm not entirely sure. Best of 3 maps. Thank you, Justin. Yeah, so it's best of 3 maps, win score 3. So there will be one more round after this, unless I screwed up and ended up grabbing round 2. But assuming this is round 1, which I'm fairly certain it is because I do recall checking to make sure it was beforehand, then yeah, this is game point, not match point. At any rate, though, was Kotoda Tofu just being hyper-aggressive right there? Like, hyper-aggressive Blossom? Interesting, but not quite what I expected. At any rate, that is going to be still Blossom getting in the back lines and managing to deal some damage, but Hokugan at the same time not able to do their job. Oh, clever. I know it sounds weird to say it's clever to stand still, but so often you see people who move when they're cloaked. And of course it makes sense because your opponents don't know where you are, but people assume at this point that you're going to be moving when you're cloaked, that just standing there waiting for your opponents to leave because they think you're coming after them, and then going in. I mean, yeah, they get the eyes, but the eyes are only so accurate. So that was clever. That was nice. Like, Hokugan just staying in place, being able to take out that Varesh, and then as a result, breaking team cohesion to the point that just turn the entire thing around and take that first map. Presumably, first map. I gotta double check that. I mean, yeah, okay, well, that wasn't the last map, for sure. Okay, we're on 2 and 9, I think. Let's see. No, that was definitely map 1. Okay, good. Good. Okay, so yeah, that was map 1. We're on to map 2, which is going to be on Blackstone Day. Perfectly serviceable map. Good map. I like it. And it looks like Rainy Waltz switching off to Ashka. A choice I agree with. I mean, I'm not quite sure why they're still going on double support, but I agree with the Ashka for the simple reason that Ashka is a strong choice. I mean, they don't have to worry about as low cooldown as Varesh. Varesh has a bit of a harder time getting in because Varesh has to deal a lot of damage through very short cooldown moves, whereas Ashka can attack more frequently. They have far more tools that don't require setup in the same way Varesh does with the Corruption and Judgment, and they have far more escapes. Which to me is way more important when you consider the Croak and the power of the Croak. But even then, it looks like it's still a bit of a tight situation. I mean, it's not like we're seeing as much of cohesion coming in here from last map they were together all the time. They were damn near inseparable, and that was working out beautifully because it meant that they didn't get hit very hard, and Hokugan had to work double hard in order to deal any real damage. I mean, Hokugan and Death both. Angel, of course, providing some support, but mostly it was like those were the main DPS. And they all really had to work, all three of them really had to work very hard to get any damage in. Now, their opponents are getting separated to the point that it almost doesn't matter that they're playing double support, because small burst damage from one character is enough to take the hits and to get that chunks down. And that's the thing to me, is that those chunks, that's the key part. But even then, though, Hokugan, I mean, yeah, they don't have to work as hard, but they're still taking a lot of damage. Despite that, as is Adriel. Looks like Adriel's down first. Hokugan might fall soon afterwards. If they can get the cross kill onto... Ooh, nope. No, they can't. I was going to say onto Tomio, but Tomio time travels out of there. Perfect timed. And that's the thing I was all chat for, of course, is that ultimate. Because, I mean, Olders typically hold on to it. Almost all the time. If an Older gets ultimate, which isn't too far into the match usually, they're going to hold on to it. Unless you see them use Chronoflux, and I honestly have not seen Chronoflux used by pretty much anyone in a long time. Quite frankly, I'm not sure why, but I guess considering what they're fighting against, it kind of makes sense. I mean, Jumong's a bit of a threat. Now, we have seen a few Chronofluxes here and there, but still, Olders will typically hold on to the meter for time travel, or not use more than like one Chronoflux, generally not use Chrono Bolt. Like, that's definitely something that's never used. Chronoflux can use from time to time. We actually saw that round. There was a couple. But there were a couple. But, yeah, that ultimate, that time travel, that's a lifesaver in so many situations that Older kind of has to hold on to it. I mean, it also sets up the stun, and of course, that is great for dealing extra damage and getting the combos in. But when you have the Ashka there, you can set up stuns that way, and of course the Boom Balloon Seed as well. I mean, all three of the members of have ways of stunning their opponents. Olders is actually the least convenient. So, don't bother with that. At any rate, the overall setup of is working out beautifully. I mean, they're not taking any permanent damage. This is exactly what they had last time. They're able to basically avoid permanent damage. And dodging that time travel coming in from Adriel, very aggressive time travel. I mean, would have worked too if it weren't for the fact that basically all the escapes were up for Tomio, so they had nothing to worry about. Tomio as well, also time travel. They will be time traveling out of there. There it is. As, you know, why not? But again, shifting sands to save Adriel, so, fair is fair. Both Olders time traveling into the other one escaping. At this point, though, the chip is just so far in favor of that's kind of ridiculous. Orb, however, does go over to Grey Rain, which is nice, but still a 20% health advantage. And the Jumong's almost down. I mean, Dragon Slayer might be coming out, but I don't see a massive opportunity. Granted, walls are down. There's no easy way of actually stopping a Dragon Slayer other than, you know, escaping and dodging. I think that's exactly what we're waiting for here, and no, but it's fine. Or no, it was exactly what I was waiting for. Never mind, that was just a Searing Flight. So yeah, that was the thing. But even then, it's just the amount of burst that can be dealt is only so much. Get a bit of focus on one character, that's generally the way to go, but even then that's tricky to pull off. But hey, they are focusing, they're trying to get rid of Tomio. And it's just not working especially well. Like, they're trying to get rid of Tomio, and Tomio's doing a great job staying alive. And that's the thing to me, is like, you know, they can only go so far if your opponent's doing a great job actually keeping themselves in the match. Ooh, never mind though. Caldum is coming both sides. Venom finding a lot of value, but at the same time, that Infernal Scorch basically being the death knell for the team. That's it. That Infernal Scorch finishing things off. Adriel, can you 3v1? Well, the time travel's going to come in there and give it a real fair shot. But it looks like no. No, they can't. So that is taking a very convincing round two. Very convincing round two. My goodness, I've actually... I mean, I've seen some convincing round twos, but at this level of play, like, that's got to be painful. I mean, that's the thing. Double support is a bit tricky to deal with when you aren't dealing with a bursty composition. And I do kind of expect we are going to see Grey Rain switch over. Probably switch out the Croak, maybe the Jumong. I mean, the Older is helping a bit with the damage, but I'm not sure if Croak is the best option, like, compared to... I'm not sure who, actually. I mean, Jamila is reasonably popular, but she's got the same problem as Croak, where it's like, she deals some damage, some of it time delayed, their opponents can escape it. Maybe Freya? Actually, Freya might not be a bad idea, actually, when I think of it. Or throw in a Rook. Actually, Rook would be a... I say Rook would be a good idea, because Rook's not top tier or anything, or wasn't when this match was played. Actually, I think they were nerfed before this match, so I guess they weren't anywhere near as top tier. But hey, there's your burst damage. Although, to be fair, there's Hokugan getting that burst damage in the back lines anyway. So Kotoda Tofu goes down, and that looks like it will be Grey Rain on the board. Ooh, nicely timed Venom Wind, by the way. That was well thought out. Tomio didn't have any escapes to deal with that, so yeah, the Venom Wind dealt full damage. And Tomio is going to be going down in a sec just because they just don't have the HP to survive. So with that, Grey Rain on the board. It's not over yet. Oh, I'm just Mendoza pointing out Shifu is another option. Fair enough. Shifu is another option. I don't think it's the option in this case because, again, the question is how do you deal burst damage. Shifu does have Impale that can deal like 29 damage, which is good. I mean, good combo. You can get some burst on that, but that's going to end up being like 10 permanent HP when you do the maths of like, you know, the spear slashes plus a teammate like Death coming in there for extra damage. Like, it'll knock them down by about 50, 55, maybe 60, but then it'll be healed up in a hurry, and that'll be only really 20 damage. So, it's a lot of work for not much payoff. I do like to use this, like, that's one thing I like about Croak, though, is the stuns do mean that their opponents don't get to heal. Like, they can take out Tomio, they can take out Kotoda Tofu, one or the other, as long as they do that, their opponents are down to normal-ish healing, to standard healing. So they can burst through that. And it's working out well, too. Hokugan basically forcing them back, keeping the center control quite strong. There's the Camouflage stun onto the Venom Wind, stopping any hope of escape. Because, I mean, the thing, of course, with Venom Wind is that because it's an AoE timed explosion thing, you want to use it, well, you want to get away from your team in general, but you want to get away with an escape, with an iframe, right before it goes off. So, of course, Tomio is waiting for the last second before using Shifting Sands, and that's exactly what Hokugan was waiting for, to use that Camouflage to completely seal the deal. And that looks like it might be a kill. Nice pressure coming in from Infernal Scorch, but I don't think Rainy Walls is going to be able to do enough. That being said, though, Tomio, actually, they might be able to. Tomio is no longer as much of a focus, and at the same time, Adriel could very well go down. This could still turn around. But that being said, Kotoda Tofu forced back. They're forced to use their hop. At the same time, the rest of their team is able to provide enough distraction that hop should be able to regenerate by the time it matters. And that is a death for death. Cross kill might be coming in here. No, getting healed up. So Tomio not going down. And I don't see it going down at all. Camouflage is up, but there's a Stone Glass to stop it. Nice follow-up on the Infernal Scorch. And that's just the thing, is like this Rainy Walls is actually doing a great job with this Ashka. I mean, I did say I thought Ashka would be a good option just because, you know, it's a bit of a more mobile, more aggressive ranged character than Varesh is. That is correct. That is exactly true. Because Ashka is like... I mean, you have the Ashka there, and that Ashka is going to be, like, as you saw here, doing a lot of frontline. Because you consider you have Ashka and the Older dealing a lot of the damage, the Older and the Blossom helping healing. So they're definitely going in that poking direction. It's just there's a lot more that Ashka can do to bounce around the stage to actually deal with their opponents in a more effective way than Varesh can. On the other hand, with Croak, like Croak, Older, Jumong, I mean, it's kind of tricky to get the burst damage, and we are seeing Croak, Older, Jumong played again. Surprisingly enough, we are not seeing any changes coming in for any composition on a Blackstone day, and yeah, I don't know, like we saw already, yes, Hokugan came in the back lines with the Croak, and then you have the Jumong providing a little bit extra damage. That's the thing about, so people are asking about team comps. So Croak, Jumong, Older is kind of old schoolish. Like, Croak hasn't really been super popular. Croak's kind of in and out, but there was a long time where Croak was not very popular. And apparently it was like a thing between Croak and Destiny. Anyway, Croak was really popular early on. For a long time, there was like Croak Jade as a main thing. And Croak Jumong is not quite like that. The idea with Croak Jade was that you get a bunch of stun chains. Croak Jumong, you do have Steady Shot, which can have stun, and it's a bit of stun. Camouflage has a lot of stun, and Jumong can deal a fair amount of damage from behind. So if Croak sets up with the Camouflage stun, then you have Jumong and Older throwing in the Quickstand and throwing in the Steady Shot, or Steady Shot and Quickstand in that order, that deals a good, like, 50 damage between the two of them. On top of the Camouflage hits. So that can deal a fair amount of burst if coordinated, but it requires a 3-person coordination, and it requires that those moves are off cooldown, which we are seeing a lot coming from Adriel where they are throwing in the quicksand when they get the chance, rather than waiting for the camouflage. That kind of makes sense, but at the same time, it does mean that the camouflage isn't finding as much value as it could. However, there's a Kotori taking the hit, and that not being responded to. Steady Shot, I believe, was off cooldown at the time. But still, on the other side, though, we have, like I said, double support coming in, and Blossom, that Blossom's the healer. Older's, like I said, it's kind of secondary DPS alongside the Ashka. Blossom's the healer. Ashka is the main reason why it's becoming very difficult for Grey Rain to actually get any value here, because Grey Rain is having a tough time dealing with the fact that they just don't have as much healing, and Ashka can output the damage like nothing else. Like, they just throw damage everywhere. And the thing is, this team composition has no counters. The best they have is Time Bender. So Adriel can stop stuff, or Chronoflux. They want to use that to totally punish out the Ashka. That can work, but at the same time, that time travel is almost required in order to avoid getting hit by either another time travel from their opponents, or just the sheer amount of pressure. That being said, though, Tomio is down. But so many cross-skill opportunities are available, so I don't really see how Hokugan is going to be able to get in there and actually kill anything. But Kotori Tofu getting a little bit too close to the wall, and that will be their downfall. Although, on the other hand, with Death gone, there's not really a whole lot of combos coming in here. Adriel should be able to get this quicksand in here, and not quite get the quicksand, but does manage to still take out their opponent, take out Rainy Waltz. Kotori Tofu is the only one left. They could theoretically win this. Actually, if they manage to get the meter for the ultimate, they could get a Dance of the Dryads that takes out Hokugan. Although I do expect Hokugan would jump if that happens. Still, though, this is actually kind of doable. Because, like I said, Blossom is mostly healer, but Blossom does have some damage options. And there's the ultimate coming in there, and there's not much Hokugan could do about that, but the healing coming in from Adriel is enough to keep them alive. And that puts Grey Rain back on the board. Wait, I missed the clutch? I'm sorry. Not sure which clutch I missed. It happens sometimes. I mean, I suppose I'm focusing a bit more on talking about, like, you know, shop analysis stuff rather than getting into the weeds of play-by-play. So, fair enough. I need more water after this. So, round 2, we have again, I mean, kind of what I'd expect. We have the more backed off position coming in from Grey Rain wants to push in, Hokugan wanting to push in, Death and Hokugan managing to get a bit of damage onto Rainy Waltz. And very nice quicksand there. Just getting an extra bit of damage on top of that. Of course, that's the thing about quicksand when their opponents are close together is that it gets through the healing because their opponents have to burn healing on everybody. And that opens things up like this. And the Venom not managing to find anything. It does manage to burn escapes, though, and that is still a big deal. I mean, there's no easy way for anyone to get out of there. Time travel coming in, but ultimately not managing to do much. That leaves basically, well, that leaves 2 players. That leaves a really strong position for Grey Rain to be in, and that leaves them at game point and match point. So yeah, at this point it's going to be a very difficult situation to deal with for I mean, not impossible, but Hokugan seems like they've kind of figured out how to get in the back lines, and Death and Hokugan seem to be coordinating a fair bit better than before. Not to mention that quicksand from Adriel right at the start of the round. Like, 3-hit quicksand on a double support team. Like, that, again, kind of nullifies the double support element because they've got to be healing each other, and they don't have much healing to go on for the next bit of burst damage. Like, that entire game was just all about Grey Rain doing their best to burn away all their opponents' healing and some of their escape cooldowns so that they could follow up with a massive amount of damage. Like, it was like 2 or 3 poke stages versus no, burn your resources, burn your resources, burn your resources, and then once the resources on were burned, Grey Rain just finished them off. I mean, most of them were burned. The Venom Wind, unfortunately, unfortunately for Hokugan, did get escape from. But it did also lead to those characters being hit hard afterwards because the escapes were used. That being said, though, both the Ashka and the Older have used their main escapes, so Ashka does have... They still have the Molten Fist, but they don't have their Searing Flight for the next few seconds, and that's leaving them in a really tight spot, getting down to half HP as a result, between Hokugan and Adriel just pounding on them. So yeah, at this point, double Dragon Slayer, nicely done! knocking Tomio into Rainy Waltz. But at the same time, Hokugan is taking a lot of damage, so Hokugan goes down. That's a lot hard. It makes it a lot harder for to get any kills in, and Hokugan is basically doomed. Death as well. There could very well be a sorry, not death. Adriel as well. Could very well be a happy birthday coming up in a second, where at the very least 2 kills in quick succession. Cross-kill opportunity is highly unlikely. Adriel's not Adriel. Death has to deal with Rainy Waltz, and that's gonna be tricky. I mean, they're not doing a terrible job of it, but it's just, again, double support when you don't have a huge amount of burst damage. The Dragon Slayer's not there. The orb did not go over to Death. If they got the orb, they could have gotten a Dragon Slayer. Could very well have turned that into a cross kill, but it's not going to happen today. That is getting on the board. And Grey Rain, it's still tournament point, it's still match point for them. Not tournament point, nowhere near. Still match point for them, but it's clearly not going to be a trivial matter. I do want to see what's going to be done with Rainy Waltz, though, because, I mean, Rainy Waltz got a bit of pressure early on, but, I mean, we saw a lot of damage coming in there. Like, they were just chipping away at Hokugan the entire time, chipping away at Death the entire time. I mean, ultimately, and chipping away at Adriel as well to an extent. Ultimately, it came down to that one last Infernal Scorch, but it never just comes down to one ultimate. It's always the stuff that leads to the ultimate that means that you lose, and, like, stuff like that, like Camouflage coming in there, a combo from Hokugan, nice combo as well. Hokugan getting the backlines. I don't agree with this. They have no escapes left. If they don't escape now, they're going to have a very difficult time. I mean, Rainy Waltz getting punished for their hubris, getting the Dragon Slayer to the face as they're trying to take out Adriel. Though ultimately, it is working out all right for Grey Rain, but it's still a situation where they don't have a whole lot of damage in there. Their opponents have healed up their real HP. So it's just a matter of whether or not they can get rid of someone on their opponent's team. Tomio being the obvious target, as Tomio's aggressive time travel does whiff. As does Adriel's. Actually, Adriel looks very weak right now. They've got to retreat, otherwise they're going to get torn apart by Rainy Waltz. Rainy Waltz, however, does have that Infernal Scorch go wide, so at the very least, Adriel will survive for a few more seconds. But as you can see, again, that double support composition is just making it very difficult for the chipped game to go in the favor of Grey Rain. They really have to win off burst combos, and it's just not... They're not finding them. There's the... Oh, nice. In-cap into the Dragon Slayer. I mean, if that time travel... Oh, no. Hokugan's dead. Hokugan is dead. Tomio's time travel turning the match... turning the round entirely around. Brilliantly done there. I mean, if it weren't for that time travel, if the time travel had whiffed, Tomio likely would have died. But, no, that was it. Hokugan goes down, and that will tie up the round unless Death and Adriel can find something, but it looks like Death and Adriel getting hopelessly separated. And with that, we're going on to what is going to be match point for both teams. Could go either way, as ties things up. Just a matter of whether or not is going to be able to keep things going, and I think they will. I mean, Hokugan has been... I mean, they were finding some damage early on, but it was just the middle of that round. It was impossible for them to keep that damage up, and anytime they found some damage here or there, it didn't work. Tomio was almost dead, but the time travel came in and saved them in the last second. That's almost a situation where I wish we did see Chrono Bolt. I think that would have been a kill. But then again, no one really uses Chrono Bolt, so I can't blame him. At any rate, this is still Adriel getting in a fair bit of healing, getting in a fair bit of damage, getting in... Ooh, perfect time for Quicksand. And nice Quicksand, too, actually. Ooh, nicely done. Tomio down to half HP as a result. Very brilliant combo. Unfortunately, that Dragon Slayer, that was an interesting situation. Smacked into the Chrono Flux after hitting Tomio, knocking Tomio back into death. But still, that's a strong situation to be in. Kotoya the Tofu is going to go down. There's the last Frog Leap to take them out. And yeah, it looks like Grey Rain is going to take this. I mean... It took him a fair amount of work, but that was a really good set of combos there. Just, seriously, Death's Dragon Slayers. The last few rounds, Death's Dragon Slayers alongside the Deceits and Camouflages, those have been working wonders. And that's given them the game, because given them the match, they put them on to, well, lower finals, but we already know that that wasn't their win. But hey, good games. That was a very nice even match there. So with that, we're going to be moving on to a short break and then the BPL matches, because that was the next part of this whole thing. Anyway, it's BPL recap, by the way. I wasn't the official commentator, but yeah, recapping some of the BPL stuff. There's a couple matches that were played for one for Cinebro versus Impact, and one for Team XD versus Space Station Gaming. So we'll start with Cinebro versus Impact after a short break, because I'm out of water. So stay tuned. Alright, welcome back. It's back to the recap. I probably should mention, I'm Dominic. Hi. I realized I didn't actually mention who I was. So, yeah. I'm your host, have been for the last hour, will be for the next couple hours. So now we're on to BPL matches. The first one's going to be between Cinebro and Impact, and it is off the Battlerite channels. It's just a recap type thing. And that's also means we're just going to see the recap. I should probably put that in there, actually. Let's see if I do that. Yeah, it's just I don't want to really steal the thunder off this, but at the same time, nah. I also want to make it clear this is a recap cast. Anyway, that's not really the point. Alright, so hopefully no one gets mad at me or sues me or anything. So let's go! Actually, I guess we sued in Battlerite Asia. Oh, oops. Started a little late. So, wait. Darn it, seriously? Yeah, BPL stuff. Alright, cool. So, Cinebro versus Impact. Cinebro being Natty, Puma, who we just saw, and Lobster Lifer, who I haven't seen in a while. And then Impact, of course, is God of Vague and Dizzler, who are an amazing European team. Very strong European team. And already starting out very strong. I mean, with Dizzler normally playing... Well, I don't just play Thorn, but Dizzler, I know of it more as an Esmo player. But man, either way, playing that hyper-aggressive Esmo... I mean, Thorn. Hyper-aggressive Esmo-style Thorn. And making it very difficult for Natty to do anything. I mean, this is Natty we're talking about, too. So Natty's no joke, but... Man, it's just the pressure coming in here from Dizzler is... just stopping Natty from being able to do anything. Same thing for Puma. Lobster Lifer at least finding a little bit of room, but ultimately they came at the cost of their healer. And ultimately they came at the cost of their round, finishing in what must have been 30 seconds. So round one, Impact taking a very strong showing. I really wish they didn't do that. I don't care. Why are you showing me the players? You jerks. Alright. Sorry, I don't really like the... Yeah, I know. I kind of wish I probably should have asked for replays for someone. I don't know if anyone had replays for this stuff. Anyway, back to the game, though. At this point, we do see a little bit more room for Puma to actually find their footing and actually managing to stop Dizzler from getting as hard as they did last time. At the same time, Lobsterlifer in the back lines, making sure that Vague can't do as much damage. The thing is, though, as long as the pressure is on, that means that Natty doesn't take the damage. Natty's able to stay in the back lines, able to kite effectively, and that other side allowing for the flank and the pinball, but unfortunately that puts Puma way too far away to help out, forcing the retreat from Lobsterlifer, and that leaves the center control completely open to Impact. Ooh, never mind. Nice steal. Although it was stolen back, though. Impact getting away from the evil clutch. Like the orb got clutched. Nicely done. But then again, also Jumong happened. Jumong went and Jumonged. All over everything. Oh, and of course, we gotta point out, we do have God of playing as Lucy. And that goo wins games. That goo is very, very important when it comes to how these games tend to go. Also, I should point out, this is best of 5. I think it's mentioned there, too. But yeah, this is best of 5. And that... So we're going to be here for a little while. So best of 5 maps. Although Impact is really making short work for Cinnabro thus far, I feel like Cinnabro, they were finding some mileage. That as long as they can keep the pressure onto Dizzler and keep zoning out their opponents, they should be able to do an okay job. They should be able to get some kills in. Should be able to take some rounds. But the question is how well they can kite that out, especially when you consider that Puma doesn't have any escapes, and they are dealing with potentially that crippling goo. I mean, Puma got kind of lucky last time, but then again, at this point, Puma's in a tight spot. They haven't been able to get out. They were taking a fair amount of damage that entire time because, again, they can't easily get out of there. And nice counter, though. Still managing to find some value. Still managing to keep their opponents on their toes somewhat. And nice pull. That's making it that much harder for Goddard to heal them. But unfortunately, Natty again taking the pressure, just like round 1. Natty, unfortunately, with that pressure, can't really do all that much. And the Barbed House getting the kill ultimately, which... Yeah, not surprised Dizzle would go for that. It's not like there's been a whole lot of aggression coming in from Cinnabro, but at the same time, you might as well, when they're that low at HP. Ah, come on. Alright, so... it's hard to say what really I would like to see Cinnabro do right now, because I feel like Cinnabro's not doing a terrible job. It's just that they are still having a hard time finding the damage. Like, no, the idea is right, maybe a slight execution thing. That, and also Natty keeps getting pressured. Although I do like how Natty is doing their best to stay behind their teammates. Like, that makes sense, considering that they have had a hard time when they got pressured. No, use your teammates as cover. Make sure your opponents can't really get to you. I mean, the evil clutch will still come up, and there should be one right away, actually. There it is. And that keeps Dizzler in the fight. But of course, it's also the ultimate. It should be coming up any second now. There it is. Yeah, I saw it being canceled by the entangling roots coming out from Lobsterlifer. But overall, yeah, this kitey kind of approach does work fairly well. At least it does keep them alive and really keep them fairly even. Unfortunately, the orbs have been going over to the other side, and that goo, again, like I said, crippling goo wins games. I'm not even sure why Puma walked back into that, but it doesn't really matter. The crippling goo did enough to put Natty into the red and ultimately kill them. So, again, Impact, like, early game, we're seeing Cinnabro has figured out a lot of ways around a lot of Impact's pressure, stopping Dizzler from getting in. But mid to late game, Impact's maintaining center control quite strongly, and that's making it impossible for Cinnabro to get that orb and to get the energy that comes with it. As a result, it just makes it impossible for Cinnabro to get their own ultimates, and granted, that's not huge. I mean, Ancestral Spirit would be nice, but also EXs. I mean, Lobsterlifer root networked from that situation. That would be amazing, and also, unfortunately, we have a bit of a hard time. I think the players can see each other, but yeah, we're having a bit of a hard time. I think I remember being told this is going to happen, invisible players. And so yeah, Cinnabro not only have to deal with the fact that Impact has clearly a lot more experience with this kind of high pressure, high aggression gameplay. As we did see in the Asia tournament matches, the Asia region doesn't tend to get characterized by as much aggression, even as the EU region. Tends to be a bit more kitey. There's no occasional backline stuff, but not to the same extent as NA, which has bled into EU. And Impact is an EU team. But not only do they have that, they also can't see their opponents. Or at least we can't see their opponents. At any rate, that is map 1 going in favor very strongly for the invisible, yet still highly effective impact. Not letting their invisibility stop them. And now, of course, we're moving on to... Hey, it's in a row. To map 2 and a bunch of talking heads, as I didn't actually mark down when the maps start. My bad. Really 5 minutes of talking heads? Sorry. I shouldn't be criticizing the production too much. I'm here doing a restream of whatever. Alright, let's get into map 2. Or not. What am I doing this on? Do this. Let's get this all sorted. Yeah, like I said, this is going to be very casual. This is a very casual stream. Basically just joining. It's the restream of the BPL for Cinnabro. Some analysis. Some quick play-by-play, recap type thing. It's not really the most formal stream. Okay, where's the start of this round? Okay. Hey. Alright, so we are on to Skyring Night, a map which is very large and kind of easy to go around. Yeah, Cinnabro, I mean, we saw before they had difficulty with aggression. Switching off, though, Rook coming in for Cinnabro, while at the same time Rook being switched in for Vague as well. So yeah, Puma not really bothering with the Destiny anymore, which I don't really blame them for, though admittedly Rook has about as many escapes. And at the same time, Rook is going to also get, or rather, Puma, unfortunately not managing to do much with that in this round. I think next round I should see more. I mean, Vague's pressure came in quite hard. Again, much like last time with the Thorn. But much like last time, I imagine that we will see more of a response to it in the next round. Like the first round, last map, had a similar problem. It was just, how do you get in, right? But now, of course, the problem is, how do you push as well? Because with Puma on Rook, Puma has to kind of do the same thing as Vague, get the pressure in. With Destiny, they could at least set up walls and such and make it a little easier to go, but not so much with Rook. However, that being said, there's Puma managing to get it exactly like the last time. Vague getting that high pressure push the first round, managing to get a lot of success, and now not so much. Puma's unfortunately not able to get the orb, but still able to get the armor break, still get some fair amount of damage in there. And actually, unfortunately, slight mistiming on that crushing blow. But hey, one way or the other, managed to get out of that crippling goo range. Oh, whoa! Unfortunately, Nadi getting in the middle of that crippling goo regardless. But hey, this is actually not a bad position. It could theoretically be the round for Cinnabro. The counter's gone for Vague, so at the very least they could take out Vague. The combo's there? Maybe? Possibly? No, and Nadi's taking a fair amount of damage. Unfortunately, though, fortunately rather for Impact, that's not going to be enough. Fortunately for Natty, for now, but there's the crippling goo. That is going to be it. That crippling goo is the death knell. I mean, okay, well-timed Prowl coming in there. Got to say, Lobster Lifer. Good timing on that Prowl. But unfortunately, that is the most there really can be. As this is going to be Impact taking yet another round. Cinnabro's getting closer. They definitely have an easier time getting in and dealing damage. It's just that it's tricky. I mean, they are dealing with a team that's able to answer that pressure, but they're also dealing with a team that, despite being able to answer that pressure, is still taking chunks of damage all the time. So to me, all I kind of wish is that Cinnabro would focus on one a little bit more. Like, I think if one of those chunks, if one of those combos that came in on one of the members of Impact, if instead of, say, targeting God of, it went for Vague a second time, like one extra combo onto someone else would have killed. And actually, speaking of which, this Vague in the front lines, although it looks like Lobster Lifer trying mostly to go for the pressure. See, this is something that kind of makes sense to me from watching the Battlerite Asia matches, is that, like, the way that the game is played for Asia region, there's a lot more emphasis on getting that pressure in there, like getting your opponent's support in the back to not be quite so confident, making your opponent, you know, they're not thinking so much in terms of how to get in and just combo with their team, because now they're worried about getting hit by ranged. But the NA and EU meta is much more about getting massive combos in there as quickly as possible, which can fail. As we're seeing right now, Vague going down to Puma's ultimate. I mean, Puma might still be a cross kill, very likely actually. Ooh, never mind, that's Smack. That's Smack combo coming in there, giving Puma a second chance at life. So yeah, the combos coming in from the EU style meta, those can backfire, as we see right there, because I mean, that was a slow and steady chip game coming out from Cinnabro, managing to find what it needed to as the chip pressure came in and did some damage, made sure that God of couldn't get cocky and couldn't go forward, caused a bit of a split, and then ultimately caused Dizzler to be locked out when they were getting killed and their healer was way too far away. So yeah, if Cinnabro can stay alive into the mid to late game, they can actually do really well with this style, because that's the entire point of their chip style. It's just difficult to maintain that against the EU and NA more aggressive pushing style, like rushing, bursting style, but it's working. Like, clearly Cinnabro has figured out the answer to a lot of this, at least to some extent. Unfortunately, they are taking a lot of damage in the process, and mostly onto Natty, but really largely spread around. Yeah, good, very strong early game coming in there, and it looks like we might still see Vague go down, but it's going to be extremely difficult to maintain anyone's survival going forward, and Vague does not go down. Shield's coming at the last second along with the healing, and that is going to be Impact taking round 4. Oh. What? Okay, that's weird. Looks like there was there a rage quit situation or something? It's kind of odd. That or a technical failure, but at any rate, we'll be back in a sec. Unfortunately, unlike with online tournaments, I can't really see what the chat logs are, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on. I'm not going to start turning on the stream audio. See, I'm not sure. I thought pauses were, like, disqualifying offenses. But I guess not. Okay, well, it looks like... Okay, looks like we're probably gonna get back in fairly soon. Alright. Yeah, there we go. We're not sure exactly what happened. Could have been a technical problem, could have been just something weird, but at any rate, it looks like we are back in this, because again, a Twitch stream, I can just do whatever the heck I want. Or a Twitch stream rebroadcast, effectively. I can do whatever the heck I want. Because I don't want their production elements in here. Or their casters. No. Anyway, back to where we were. So, yeah, that was weird. But either way, we, again, have the combo coming in and Dizzler actually now a bit more aggressive coming from Cinnabro. They clearly figured that they should probably answer that aggressive style with a bit more combo aggression themselves. And nice crushing blow timing coming in there from Puma, punishing Vague. And Vague down the back. This is the thing we saw before in some of the Battlerite Asia matches, is the sort of punish coming in here. And that's exactly what's happening on Vague. Or Dizzler. Either way. One of them gets out of position and starts getting punished hard. That's really more of the European meta back in the day, too, which I find kind of surprising we aren't seeing from Europe as much. Like, there's been a lot of a shift in the European meta towards more of the North American rush. Like, North American and European meta kind of met in the middle. North America was very rush-focused, and Europe was much more kiting-focused, setting up traps, trying to flank anyone who tries to get aggressive. And at this point, they've kind of met in the middle, and they both sort of play a somewhat aggressive, yet still reasonably safe, bursty style. Whereas the Asian teams, much more in the poking style, which is not something you see a whole lot, but when it works remarkably well. And right now, it's kind of working particularly well. Although, unfortunately, Natty, not dead yet. I was saying, unfortunately, they're going to go down to the crippling goo, but no, they're actually not taking a whole lot of damage, all things considered. I mean, they're still dangerously close to death. And, I mean, them and Puma both. But, hey, their Jumong's in good shape. Oh, but that Nani going down. No healer left for the Cinnabro. However, ultimately coming in there, managing to kill off Vague. And that's God of going down again. That's round 5 going in favor of Cinnabro. So 2 rounds on the board for them. Clearly figured out some things they need to do in order to take this match. So good for them. Anyway, moving on. As of course, match is not over yet. It is only round 6. Or round 7. Really? Round 7? Oh, I guess one of those considered a draw or something. Whatever. It's round 7. Either way. And that... Yeah, that's still going to be kind of tricky. I mean, it's... Cinnabro managed to find some mileage in the last round, but now Nani's getting a bit separated. And while they are clearly commanding some respect from Impact, your Impact is not going for the hyper-aggressive strategy. Again, Puma's occasionally going forward. Oh, the crippling goo combo on top of that! Yeesh, that's what I said before. Like, that's what I said before. Crippling goo wins games. I mean, Puma was about 70% HP, went down to 0 in a second because of that crippling goo. It wins games. That's what Lucy does in the team. They provide some healing, they provide a little bit of support, they occasionally petrify you, and then they crippling goo. So at this point, it is currently map point, or game point, as I was calling it before. It's currently game point for Impact. Almost match point, too. I mean, this is map 2, but if they take this, then they are just one map away from, I think it was getting into the lower bracket finals. The bracket structure was a little bit confusing for BPL. And also, I guess we all kind of know how that went, because that's already gone. This is really more of an analysis thing. And my analysis is that, hey, they got a nice trap onto Vague. And like I said, that's kind of been the overall playstyle. Get those traps in and try to make it work. And there's actually not as much getting traps work, it's just making Rook play work. Getting the rush down in there, getting some damage on God of, but unfortunately, what is going on? Nani keeps pausing for whatever reason, I don't know why. I mean, I don't know if it's that pause tech, or if the computer's just failing, or what, because it's the second time we've had that. I mean, I was about to say, like, maybe it's, like, I guess computer issue, because normally when you get pauses like that, it's because of lag. Like, normally what happens is that you have net play stuff, and then lag goes wrong, and then there's a big pause, and that pause is because, well, again, net play lag, or net connection lost. Happens all the time. But in an offline tournament, I found it weird, and it looks like it is a technical problem. Hi, longest series ever. I'm not actually sure what's going to go on with that. Okay, well, coming back to it, it looks like, I guess that was considered a disqualified round, so we are on to map 3, it would appear. No, that can't be right. The hell? No, because you're on Scouring Night already. Okay, I'm sorry. This is really confusing. And doesn't look like it's a recap. No, they're just replaying the map, I guess? Sorry, I didn't check the actual commentary, so the situation is just bizarre. I feel really silly right now. I probably should check the actual commentary. I didn't want to spoil the match for myself before I started this, hence why I didn't get in. But, I don't know, pursuant to analysis, I mean, good catching out of Dizzler. I mean, something going on there is just making sure Dizzler is not in a great position to get in. But I think at this point, this is, I guess the idea is this is meant to be match point, or map point. Ugh. Should have listened to the commentary stuff. Whatever. Ugh. What? No, wait. Shit. My apologies for not entirely being aware of what's going on. But we are moving on to map 3, at any rate. Hopefully the technical issues stop, and thus my looking stupid because I don't know what technical issues are happening and what would happen in a LAN event. It's kind of the whole point. Whatever. Let's continue. I'm feeling kind of silly. Alright, so on to map 3, Mount Araz Day, or Blackstone Day. Mount Araz Day is upside down. Blackstone Day, and oh, Lobslife are going for nope, no changes. Okay, yeah, so there's Dizzler going for Thorn, and Vague going for Varesh. Interesting. I mean, we saw this work really well in the first map, and I have a feeling this is gonna work really well again and again. There's just not a, like, I don't know. I feel like Puma's starting to get read really well. Like they're going in, they're getting some damage in, but then they're getting hit hard in the process. However, that was not an example of that. I mean, they were hitting Vague, who was way out of position at the time. It's actually worked out really well. And this is what I was mentioning before. This is the thing that seems to work well for the Asian meta, or the Korean meta, is just hit them when they come to you. Like, get them to come to you, and then flank them and hit them. Old style EU as well, but that's not really how Impact's been playing. Sort of has been. Puma has been putting themselves in a position where they've been taking damage, but it's not quite the same. It's not quite they come in and then you do a massive stun lock combo and rip them to shreds. It's more like just sort of chip them out as they get close. That seems to be how Impact's playing this. Ooh, speaking of chipping out though, as Vague goes in, or sorry, Dizzler goes in, getting punished a fair bit for that, and that's not bad. Unfortunately, the Barb Husk does mean a fair bit of damage to the Lobster Lifer, and more importantly, the pressure coming in on Natty. Again, the aggressive style does mean that oftentimes one character will get pressured hard, and oftentimes it is the healer. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. Nice peels coming in there from both Lobster Lifer and Puma, and the Dragon Slayer. Brilliant Dragon Slayer. Could very well give Cinnabro the round here, just for the amount of damage that Dragon Slayer was able to deal. But of course, the question is, can that matter? Because Puma being as close to death as they are, same with Natty, like, it's working out really well, and then Cinnabro gets separated somewhat, and then Impact takes full advantage of that. Which, unfortunately, means that Cinnabro is likely, yeah, their Impact's taken round 2 here on map 3. This is the last map for Impact if they win this, so they just need 3 more rounds to move on. On the other hand, Cinnabro kind of needs to win everything. I mean, literally everything. I just can't not. There's everything. So, yeah. I could see Impact probably taking it. I mean, Cinnabros have some good rounds, but again, it's like mid-round. If Cinnabro stays together mid-round, it'll be brilliant. They'll have no problems whatsoever. But if they get split up mid-round, then unfortunately it is going to be the Impact's dream scenario, and that's exactly what's been happening. But this round does not seem to be that at all. In fact, Cinnabro's doing a great job staying together. Unfortunately, Panic Flask onto Puma pushes them way out of position. So, not able to stay in and do the combos. Fortunately, they're still able to peel somewhat, but not enough. Lobster Lifer had to be the front line there as Puma got panicked away. Just that one thing, like one thing goes slightly wrong. And that's just, I mean, that's how Battlerite goes this level. Like, you know, one thing does go slightly wrong, and yeah, it does mean the character's dead. Because at this level, just the combos that people have to pull off, yeah, they're oftentimes 100 to 1 or 100 to 0. So God of nice on the Panic Flask there, and that means we are 2 rounds potentially away from Impact taking a 3-0 if they do. At the same time, actually, I guess you've all been seeing the timer has been going forward, so it's a little bit of a spoiler there. Yeah, I'm afraid that's the thing. But that's fine. That's fine. It's still Cinnabro potentially managing to get some wins in, and it's still a matter of just analysis. At this point, again, Dizzler rather just taking a lot of damage as they go forward, and that's exactly what Cinnabro wants. But unfortunately, Puma got a bit too far forward with their rush twice in a row, and far too far out of position to be able to do much. And unfortunately, that does leave the rest of the team, Natty in particular, to be destroyed, and that is the risky thing about playing Rook. And when you're playing Rook, if you go for the aggression and you don't make it, you're way out of position. And I think that's why you don't see a lot of Rooks being played on Mount Araz. Also Mount Araz, not so much as, but Blackstone Day. That's on right now. Blackstone Day. You don't see a lot of rooks here. There's so much room to fly completely away from the fight. Mount Raz actually you do see a fair amount of rooks because there isn't as much room to fly away from the fight. But Blackstone, no. It's kind of like as we're seeing here, we have the Thorn coming in from Dizzler. When we had Vague before playing the Rook, like that's for a reason. So, yeah, that's the one thing. I'm not even sure now. I mean, Rook, this is basically the latest patch, so Rook's not too different. But again, it's kind of map dependent. However, Puma's still doing an okay job here. I mean, they haven't taken a whole lot of damage yet. Natty under a huge amount of pressure, but it looks like Puma's almost taking advantage of that. And at this point, considering that there's not a whole lot right now that Dizzler has, I mean, they should have their Barbed Husk available any second now. But they haven't used it yet, and they're clearly waiting on something, but that might be their death. Barbed Husk not able to come out in time. Thorn going down. Vague could soon follow, or God, either way, it's basically Cinnabro managing to take a round for themselves. One way or the other, Cinnabro's got this round. So hey, they're on the board. Nicely done. Oh, what did I miss? Hang on. How did Impact just take a round? Oh. Oops. No, that was when the Cinnamon just won. What am I saying? Okay. Must miss something. Okay, well anyway, Impact at map point. Yeah, that was exactly what happened. Okay, my bad. What? Ah, stupid Twitch UI. Whatever. On to round 6. Ah, stupid. Whatever. I mean, I shouldn't be too mad. This is for you. It's by request. No, really, it actually is. That was a suggestion I had when we were discussing what to do for this recap stream. BPL, why not? And yeah, it certainly has been an interesting, enlightening little demonstration of some of the differences between the EU meta and the Korean meta, or the EU meta and the Asian meta. And that's, like I said, it's just a matter of aggression levels. And I kind of see where Rook comes in here, because Rook can be quite effective at being a just big old tank, stopping their opponents from doing much. But at the same time, it does mean that potentially that tank goes way out of position because of her bad rush. And that's where it becomes a little bit harder for that to work. But I mean, it has worked reasonably well, especially when you get some situation like what we have right now with Dizzler, where they're a bit too far forward, and you get the punish on that, and overall, actually, punishes all round. This is over one of those situations where I would kind of like to see a little more focus on a single opponent. Like again, this seems to be a fairly common thing we saw with the Battlerite Asia stuff, is kind of getting a broad focus on everyone just to get, you know, a little bit of pressure here, a little bit of pressure there, ultimately pick targets of opportunity. And that's not a bad idea, but at the same time, it's hard to get the situations where you can get massive damage. So it's often good to take full advantage of that, rather than splitting up your focus. Instead, just go all in on one opponent. At least for the time being, because you get that one hit, and you gotta make the most of it. Anyway, round 7 coming in, and well, Cinnabro doing a fine job maintaining control of the center and punishing Dizzler for being at all aggressive. Actually, putting a very good show on here. Like Cinnabro, sheesh, are you gonna make a comeback here? Like Impact, yeah, they're at match game point. Like they are at the point where if they win any round, it's over. But man, Cinnabro is not making it easy until that Crippling Goo comes in there. Again, Crippling Goo wins games. Puma unfortunately being knocked back and forth. Great for Sanctuary, however, just try to keep him alive. But Puma's not got a whole lot. I mean, the green shards are coming up in a while. The orb's up, but getting that's going to be almost impossible. Nice crush there coming in from Vague to make sure the orb is theirs. Still though, Vague and God have so many cross skill opportunities, but they are still fighting 3v2. Although that being said, the cross skill could very well going in here. There it is. There's the cross skill, the judgment, sealing the deal, getting rid of Puma. Natty and Lobster Lifer again at quite low HP. Though a good Dragon Slayer could turn this around. It's just getting that good Dragon Slayer is the hard part. And the Deadly Inject, putting Natty into a, well, completely unwinnable situation. And now the 1v2, Lobster Lifer valiantly fighting, but going down, and that is going to be, well, Impact taking the match. Still, though, I like the way that Cinnabro was playing. Like I said, clearly the style of play is a little bit of a mismatch, but the style of play as far as the Asian team goes is very much a matter of waiting for their opponent to come in and then countering it. Like letting them come to you and then dealing with it. Whereas the style of play for basically every other region is push forward massive burst combos. Also, to mention the Asian style is clearly also getting in a reasonably broad set of attacks, like not necessarily focusing on one particular opponent, but instead focusing on the entire team, like getting a bit of pressure on everybody, which, like I said, I kind of feel like that's not the most effective because, again, you kind of get one hit. Anyway, moving on though, it's going to be Space Station Gaming versus Team XD. And Space Station Gaming, formerly known as, formerly known as Legendary, sort of. No, sorry, formerly known as, not Legendary, this is part of Legendary, but it was the, crap, I can't remember. Now that they become Space Station Gaming, I totally forgot. Overconfident, that's what it was. Overconfident, that was the old name. Strongest NA team. Team XD, on the other hand, is Hisgram, Clarinet, and Pinky. Hey! I'm actually having a bit of a hard time right off the bat, as Hisgram and Freya not really able to get much in before being torn apart. And I mean, when I was talking about the highly aggressive NA EU style of play, Legendary, which to an extent is the precursor to Space Station Gaming, like Averse used to be on there, and it was a big part of the team, although admittedly Legendary is more so ninjas than Arcane, but either way. Averse teams just tend towards hyper-aggression, highly mobile burst combo hyper-aggression, especially with the Shifu. That pretty much set the tone for NA Battlerite from the beginning. And that's been the case ever since. And the big reason, of course, NA and EU Battlerite was fighting out on the rival esports stuff for weeks, for a whole year basically, which is how that style blended. However, that being said, this time around, like, we're seeing where the weakness of that style comes in. It's actually coming in at where the more defensive Asian style actually is quite strong. Is that as soon as you are able to get any real mileage against them, against your opponents that are coming in on you, it works. Unfortunately, Clarinet going down. Clarinet going down. It's a bit of a shame because it was working out reasonably well, but yeah, it's like I said, as soon as you can get that defensive position and counter hit and start tearing someone apart because they're being a little bit too careless, you can get in and deal some damage. But Space Station Gaming, they're a little bit more careful. That was actually one of Legendary's biggest weaknesses back in the day, is that they would end up being a little bit too aggressive. But I think Space Station is a bit better practice than... What is going on? I think Space Station is a bit better practice than that. Actually, I don't think. I know. Overconfident is much more adept at making sure they don't go down to anything silly. Because that's the thing, is that Legendary always had the problem. Overconfident occasionally has that problem. And actually kind of rarely these days. Though Team XD is doing a fair job trying to exploit that. Ooh, very nice split coming in there from Hisgram. Great in-cap there. That's allowed for a decent amount of damage. I mean, it's also on Bloom, so, no healing. Actually, overall, the team splits coming in here from Team XD, that's letting them chunk away at Space Station, giving them a very strong advantage. And right now, Proster could go down Man, I haven't said that in a long time. Proster could go down. Proster could very well go down. And, I mean, that or reverse, and usually that is the target. Like, go for reverse, get them in the back line. That's how you win against Space Station Gaming. But Proster being more the focus, and I don't disagree. I mean, I totally understand. Proster is certainly a target of opportunity. But, like, the question is, when's Companion going to come in? When's Crippling Goo going to come in? When's that game-winning giant pile of acid going to be dropped on the floor? Hisgram, unfortunately, not managing to get that Thunder Strike. Tornado coming in right in time to dodge it, but Proster does still go down. And that's going to mean Averse is going to be highly vulnerable. And Averse falling up. There's a Companion Call just to save their life, basically, giving them that shield. But only so much that can be done for that, and Team XD does get on the board with a very effective defensive play. That is exactly what I was talking about. Just hold on, don't get knocked to a corner, and make sure that your front line stays the front line, the back line stays in the back line, and you get a bit of pressure to separate out Bloom from their team and a reverse from Proster. If you can do that, you're fine. But this round, they're not managing to do that as well. Proster is still taking a fair amount of focus, but as soon as the focus goes on a Proster from Team XD, a verse is going to be in the back line, and Team XD knows it. So they are keeping that split focus, which in this case is exactly right. But unfortunately, it's also a situation where there really isn't a right answer. Because the amount of pressure at the beginning, because they're in the corner, Team XD does not have a whole lot of options. Especially after Pinky pinballed away, but that didn't help. But really, once they get in the corner, Space Station Gaming wins. Space Station Gaming wants their opponents in that upper right corner. Or lower left corner, but usually upper right. Like, that's just always the case. Because once again, in that corner, they're kind of stuck. Whereas we saw already when Team XD was able to stay in the middle of the map, they had no problem splitting their opponents up and actually taking full advantage of the map. However, that's happening. That's what I mean. That's what's happening now. That's exactly what's happening now. Very nice lockdown too. Well done there, but unfortunately for Pinky, they're taking a bit of a beating in the back. Just Proster stabbing them back repeatedly. But hey, no corners yet. It's getting dangerously close though. The midfield push, the midfield split, that was doing a really good job for Team XD. But it feels like that's starting to fall apart. Proster's doing fine. They're not taking a lot of damage. That Tempest Rush is keeping them in the game. And Bloom managing to heal their team without any issue as well. And there's the Crippling Goo. Well, there will be the Crippling Goo in a second. There's the Crippling Goo. That was a couple seconds too soon. But it was going to happen. That knocks Pinky into a tight spot, which unfortunately for them is death, putting Space Station Gaming very likely at map point. Now, this is map 1. There are, of course, at least 3 maps in total, possibly 5, depending on how this goes. But that being said, I do see this as being Space Station Gaming. Yeah, they are at map point. So once they lose this, or once they win that, then, well, if they win this, we actually don't know. I don't know. Team XD might go for the reverse sweep. It could happen. I've seen it happen before against Space Station Gaming. They have been reverse swept. So don't lose hope. Those of you rooting for Team XD. I mean, granted, if you already know the results of the tournament, you know how that goes. But, I mean, map by map, I don't actually know. I really don't. Like, I know the final result. I just don't know how it goes map by map. At any rate, it's still Clarinet. Oh, actually, that's one thing, though. I was pointing out before that Clarinet being the backline is important, and Hitsgram being able to stay in the front is important, and that Reverse is going to try to make sure that doesn't happen. And that's exactly what Reverse has been doing. However, Reverse gets the cross kill as a result. Unfortunately, that does mean Bloom is the only healer on the field, so it's going to be tricky. It's really a matter of borrowed time for Team XD. They can get an additional kill on Proster or Bloom. It's just if they can get that kill, because the amount of damage they can deal, it's reasonably high. I mean, Freya and Destiny is not anything to sneeze at when it comes to damage output. It's just that they are taking damage in the process. And any trade is a bad trade when you don't have a healer on your team and your opponents do. So unfortunately, that is going... Unfortunately for Space Station, unfortunately for Team XD, Team XD's got... I gotta stand, unfortunately. That's the thing I gotta get out of the habit of doing. But anyway, Team XD, they lose it. That is going to be... Really, that's what they look like? Anyway, so... Yeah, Team XD going to be in a bit of a tight spot. Space Station Gaming takes the first map. And yeah, Team XD, I'm curious how they're going to play the next map, if they're going to switch anything up, because, I mean, their composition worked okay, but I don't know. It was kind of, like, it has burst moments. It was able to peel okay, but I feel like they wanted to be more aggressive than Freya would allow. Let's see what they go for. And it looks like they did actually change the composition a bit. Going for Iva, Pestilus, and Jamila. Oh, sorry, Space Station Gaming going for that. Total shift. Clarinet going for older. Pinky is going for Iva. Interesting setup. So you haven't seen a lot of Jamilas, actually. I mean, there's been quite a few in the in BPL in general, but it sort of just came out of nowhere. And that is generally what Jamila does, is indeed come out of nowhere. But at the same time, Pinky doing a great job. I have a nice flamethrower too. I mean, considering that their opponents are playing with characters that don't have a lot of counters, it's not a huge deal. But Proster does have a counter, and we're trying to punish Proster. So, you know, make sure to get out around that. Unfortunately for them, that can also be worked against them. Metaverse is also playing Iva, so that is as much as can be done. Space Station Gaming take the first round, but I do like the fact that Pinky, with that Iva, is at least staying alive as long as they are. But at this point, like, the thing is, I mean, Bloom as Pestilus. You would think Bloom as Pestilus, like, Pestilus would be vulnerable, right? Well, not Bloom. Don't underestimate Bloom and their ability to get out of dodge when it comes to playing Pestilus, or anyone for that matter. Especially when they have Proster in the front lines doing a lot of pressure, and this is a situation where I feel like the general style of trying to hold back and wait for your opponents to be aggressive isn't going to work, because Space Station Gaming isn't playing a split setup. I mean, they have Iva and Jamila both up front, applying massive pressure. Neither one can really be focused down, because neither one is really operating on their own in the same way that a Shifu would. I mean, granted, right now the Jamila is up front, but they're trying to get that kill, and they might be able to. Oh, good time travel. Great time travel, actually. Oof, I mean, didn't quite manage to set up a cross kill or anything, but still, good time travel. Good Chronoflux following afterwards. Wait, how in the world? Oh, it must have taken... Older? Doesn't Older still not have inspiration? How'd Older lost inspiration? Yeah, that was weird. Or wait a sec. No, I'm not sure. No, they have the shields on shifting stance, not the Chronoflux, I think. Yeah, they got shields and shifting stance. What am I thinking? Okay, anyway, the point is that was interesting, but kind of irrelevant. So at this point, now it's clear that Space Station Gaming, I mean, they managed to get a fair amount of pressure in, but again, this is the more that split setup. This is the thing that gives Team XD a chance. If their opponents are split somewhat, they can't do anything. They can't operate anywhere near as effectively as when they're able to burst down. But unfortunately, that time might be over. It's possible the Proster could go down in the process. Nice dodge on the Shadow, or the Phantom Cut. The Shadow Slice Phantom Cut. Well, I mean, the time travel coming in there to help stop that, but unfortunately, that is only going to go so far. But it's far enough, as the time bomb stun. Nice, that tick goes down. Team XD taking that first kill, and very likely taking first round of this map. But hard to say. Ooh, 45 damage. This static wore off right at the last second, but still enough damage to give Team XD a round on the board. And that was, like I said, there was a split from Space Station Gaming. I mean, they got separated a bit. Proster went a bit aggressive. Bloom kind of stayed back, and Team XD knows how to deal with that. The big team fight pressure seems to be a bit harder, but even now, there's a very nice little thunderclap to get away from the counter. And Team XD does have a lot of options, like mostly from the Freya, mostly from Histogram, to separate using in-caps. It's just a matter of actually being able to set those up, and unfortunately the split coming in from Pinky, being forced up top, at the very least able to escape, but not without taking about 3/4 of their health and damage. And unfortunately that means they are going to be... I gotta stop saying that. That means they're going to be in a position where they can't really be forward with their Freya. That means, of course, that they are going to be also very much the target of opportunity, and that's what Proster's going for. Might be able to take them out pretty quick, but man, they're doing a great job of just staying away from the damage. Unfortunately, there's at low enough HP, it really can only go so far. Space Station Gaming 3-1 in their favor. And that's fine. I mean, there's still room for Team XD to get some mileage in back. It's just becoming increasingly difficult. I mean, Space Station Gaming, as long as they stay together, and they usually tend to... I mean, they tend to alternate. They'll spend a couple matches staying highly together, and then another couple matches being a bit more split. Someone being a bit more aggressive. It's kind of an odd situation, but it's also what I've noticed from way back. Like, they tend to just shift around in their playstyles. And it looks like this is one of those matches where they're going to be staying, or at least one of those rounds, they're going to be staying a little bit more together. But at the same time, Histogram has been doing a great job applying pressure to Bloom. mean, I mentioned Bloom can get out of dodge as Pestilence, but there's only so much you can do as Pestilence to get out of a bad situation. Unfortunately, that can also be said for Hiskram. Freya does have a few more options to get out of a bad spot, but unfortunately with such low HP, there's only so much they can do regardless. Good taser coming in there from Pinky. And also managing to just machine gun that orb. That was nice. That was nicely done. Unfortunately, though, Split coming in again. Like, as soon as any splits happen, Space Station Gaming will be on top of that. And cross-kill opportunities, I don't see any. Like, Bloom, maybe, but not for the amount of health that is left. And indeed, Space Station Gaming again at map point. Team XD is kind of tight. Again, another tight spot. I mean, they did manage to win before at map, or managed to get some rounds in when their opponents were at map point on the last map. But as only so far that can go. And that being said, nice shield to stop the Phantom Cut. Nice split off on the in cap on the Jamila. This is clearly one of those rounds where Space Station Gaming is being a bit more split, being a bit more aggressive, and that's exactly what Team XD wants. Whether they manage to take full advantage of it remains to be seen. That bouncing taser must have been a pain in the butt. Actually, that was kind of a pain in the butt. That's leaving Hiskram in a slightly more awkward situation than it'd like to be. Not sure if it would have prevented the damage that was dealt them, however. Still, though, the Space Station Gaming just gradually getting that chip on there. Nice time travel. That Averse took a fair amount of damage thanks to that time travel. So there is that. That's at least something. Actually, that's a lot. Averse, again, as I said before, Averse, if you can take out Averse, or at least heavily pressure them, that's a huge part of Space Station Gaming. You can take out the backline DPS. Not much else they can do, but unfortunately for them, Pinky went down first, and Averse is not going to be able to go down as quickly without an IVA being used against them. Or really just without that third player. So it looks like this is going to be map 2 going in favor of Overconfident. I mean, I'm just going to say that at some point. Of Space Station Gaming. And, well, I mean, they've been certainly earning it. So moving on to map 3. Not sure what map that's going to be. It looks like it will be Skyring Knight. Ah, come on, you. Yeah, it'll be Skyring Knight, which is Space Station Gaming's, I think it's their favorite map. I haven't actually asked them about this, but watching them play has led me to believe that Skyring Knight is Space Station Gaming's best map. So let's see how this goes. Pinky switching over to Destiny and Croak for Hiskram. Okay, going for the total disruption play, while Pro switches off to Jumong and Averse going in, Averse going in for Jumong. Averse going for their old favorite. I mean, Averse was a Jumong main when they started and were really crushing dreams. And Proster's also a strong Thorn. I mean, they weren't the Thorn main back in the day. I mean, they are a Thorn player. It's just whatever. I'm getting distracted. The point is that this is Hiskram clearly trying to get in the disruption, trying to get in that backline, trying to get that Pestilence down. Same logic, different character. And that's actually working reasonably well. I mean, Proster in a 2v1, and they're not bad in 2v1, but there's only so much they can do, especially when they have so much pressure going on them that the Barbed Husk gets read out and they just get knocked in the Ancestral Spirit. And again, Averse, if you can take them out, great. If you can take out Bloom, great. And there's this constant splits coming in here. I mean, despite the fact that this has generally been Space Station Gaming's favorite map, it's clear that Team XD is just extremely adept at splitting up their opponents, especially using that Croak. I mean, with Croak, there are so many walls to hop over and to camouflage around and just to completely mask your position. Even when your opponents know how to deal with a cloaked Croak, it's only going to work so well when there's so many options for actually being a Croak. I mean, one of them might involve dying, but no, the orb goes to them, so I ain't losing any characters. Team XD taking round 1 quite convincingly and showing how it might be done against Space Station Gaming on this map. Because seriously, they generally won on this map. Anytime it would come up in PR and rival tournaments, it would be here. They'd kill it. So I don't know. It's just when you see the way that Croak's being used here, yeah, I can see that being an option. I mean, and although to be fair, it's also, I mean, that is Hiskram is clearly doing an amazing job on Croak. Actually, yeah, it's more a matter of, again, that target switching, that target of opportunity switching, that is, I keep saying it seems like kind of more typical to the Asian meta. It's really working out well in situation. I mean, obviously, they want to get rid of Bloom, which they just did, but there's also just that general focus on whoever is available, and that's when you have the Croak there, and you have like Croak plus Destiny, you get the damage plus the ability to set up that damage effectively and reliably. Splitting targets like that is actually working out quite well. I mean, it's forcing everyone to be a little more on their toes, and it's making it harder for them to just get in and actually get their own pressure. And for Space Station Gaming, that's a death knell, considering how much they rely on getting hard pressure going the entire game. So yeah, very clever setup from Team XD. I mean, so far, 2-0. I mean, and it looks commanding as well. Like, not only are they up 2 rounds, both of those rounds just felt like they could not be stopped. Oh yeah, and Pinky on Clarinet, Pinky on Paloma. Associated Paloma so strong with Clarinet now. But yeah, Pinky on Paloma as well. And that's working out pretty all right. I mean, again, it's just a matter of whether or not Space Station Gaming can get the splits and get the hard pressure on any one character, which thus far they can't. But that might soon change with that that clutch. That evil clutch coming in there could be it, but it looks like that is not going to be enough. However, that's only saying so much. I mean, one missed ultimate coming in, the Venom one coming in as well, not managing to find much as, well, I mean, there's a Black Arrow to get away from the Venom wind explosion. But it's just a matter of whether or not they can kill Proster, because Proster, again, they're very close, and there's Proster down, and a bit of healing off the Ancestral Spirit onto Hisgram as well. As long as Pinky can heal up and get themselves into an okay position, there's still a chance, but again, cross kills are a very real possibility, and I say that as they happen. I think Space Station Gaming may have this round. Team XD, I mean, if they can avoid the Scarabs, they'll be in a safe spot, at least, a reasonably safe spot. But it's just the orb going over to Space Station Gaming, Team XD really only having the Paloma at high HP, and Pinky not playing a very aggressive Paloma, despite the fact that they are dealing with a situation where I'd say aggressive Paloma would work reasonably well. Like, you know, you split up the Pestilus from the Jumong, and then the Pestilus can't heal, because the same limitation as Paloma, and one healer. That actually would work pretty well, but, seems like they've found a way of approaching it that's working fine as well. Actually, there's the wall split. That works too. Pinky able to get the wall split onto both, taking advantage of that to take out Bloom, though starting with Adverse, because why not? But still mostly focusing that onto Bloom, and Team XD holding on to their streak of this round, or this map rather. Like seriously, holding on to the potential 5-0 against Space Station Gaming. So hey, that's still a lot when you consider that first 2 rounds felt like Space Station just really had Team XD's number, and Team XD was just desperately trying to find something. Now Team XD is just taking a commanding lead. I'll grant that last round was a little bit closer. I mean, it came down largely to the fact that that pressure on Bloom and Averse was able to split them up to the point that the wall allowed for Bloom to be taken out in one fell swoop. But now we're seeing again that more commanding lead from early on. I mean, again, Hisgram is dealing damage where they need to get a target of opportunity. They're splitting up where they can with the in-caps, and that's working out perfectly. Part of it I feel is this map, despite it being what I thought was Overconfident's best map, I mean, again, that Croak, so I don't expect this to work necessarily as well on a different map, but of course that's what the players are prepared for. But hey, Scouring Night, at least that's something that gives Team XT an extremely strong position to work from. Like, an amazingly strong. Also, Root Network right there. Proster, like, what Proster did there, EX space for Thorn, is an amazing move. It didn't ultimately leave them with the round, but hey, it kept them and their teammate alive. Both of them had the Venom Wind on them. So, that's just one of those things. You don't see a lot of Root Networks used, but when you see them, especially at this level, when you see them, they count. Just want to point that out. And, however, Team XD, like I said, despite that Root Network, still managed to take that round, still on map point, with no rounds lost in this entire series. So from here on in, it's either Space Station Gaming going for a reverse sweep, or Team XD taking a full sweep themselves. Either way, we're going to be going on to another map. Or sorry, not either way. Reverse sweep actually would mean Space Station Gaming just takes it. But I think Team XD, I mean, they've shown a really strong position thus far. Space Station Gaming could adapt to it and could go for the reverse sweep. They have done it before. with other teams. Hisgram not even managing to get that orb. So yeah, this actually is a pretty strong position for Space Station Gaming to possibly stage a comeback. I mean, Hisgram hasn't really found a whole lot of value. Pinky neither, and both of them haven't taken a huge amount of damage in the process. So yeah, this actually is a bit of a dangerous situation. I think Space Station Gaming has this round. Unless a massive tactical shift happens or a massive burst combo happens in favor of Team XD, Space Station Gaming might be on the verge of a reverse sweep. I don't know. It seems unlikely considering that for the most part, Team XD has been holding a commanding lead, but I mean, this happens. Space Station Gaming in particular, they will take a few maps or few rounds and then start turning it around. And when they start turning it around, they really turn it around. And once they do that, well, of course, what are you going to do? I mean, you can adapt yourself, which is nice. And the thing is, if you have map point like this, adaptation could be all you need. Like one good adaptation, then you got the map. That's all that Team XD needs, is one good adaptation or just being very mindful. I think it's not so much adaptation. To me, it's much more of a smaller execution thing. Like Hisgram's exact target choice in the exact moment, or how they move around when they're getting in and out of the fight. Exactly when they get in and out of a fight, that to me is much more important. Like, the overall plan, Hisgram get in the back, camouflage a bit, snipe a bit, and then Pinky just deals with a verse or helps out if the Deceits are in a really good spot. Yeah, that's working out pretty well. I mean, it's Destiny. She deals boatloads of damage from distance. The only weakness she has is mobility and the ability to escape. And I mean, you got the Croak providing so much pressure, your opponents aren't even able to hit Pinky, or not even going after Pinky because they're so concerned about how to deal with Hisgram. They're not even thinking about Pinky. And that's been working. That's been working amazingly well. Unfortunately, Hisgram might die in this round, but hey, there's Pinball coming in. Geometry doesn't quite manage to work out, but hey, 40 damage is 40 damage, so can't really sneeze at that. Especially when you consider that Bloom is about to go down, or at least is heavily damaged to the point that they're not really able to stay in any fight, and that's all that Hisgram needs. Get him out of the fight, focus on a verse, maybe kind of go back for them if you get the chance, but either way, no, they just go back for them. They want blood. They want Pestilence blood. They want Pestilence Ichor, really. Be really weird to call it blood, but either way, they've got that blood, or they soon will. And that is going to be a map going to Team XD. Very convincingly in this fight. And now Space Station Gaming, I mean, they're wanting revenge, I'm sure. I mean, this is the best team in North America. I'm pretty sure that they would rather not lose if they could help it. Especially to point out, this is actually the first round of the finals. Or this was the first round of the finals. So yeah, Space Station Gaming probably doesn't want to be knocked down to losers right at the start. They actually did have a bit of a hard time in the qualifiers and in more recent rival cups, so yeah, they got a lot to prove here. And starting out, they already are. No team composition switches from Team XD, but Space Station Gaming switched off Thorn for Jamila for Proster, and Bloom going from Pestilence to Older. And a verse into Iva. I mean, I feel like Space Station Gaming is just kind of showing off their different team compositions. And the thing is, man, Mount Arouse Day, this isn't a terrible map for this composition coming out from Team XD if they're able to maintain center control. If that happens, which it isn't. Unfortunately, unlike Skyring Night, it's not like every part of the map that you're playing on is actually going to allow for this. Like, allow for the Croak to jump over the walls and deal a lot of damage that way. That being said, this is actually pretty close. I mean, it's not a likely 3v1. There's no meter or anything, and I mean, they go down, but at the same time, there were so many opportunities for cross-kill. Again, the criticism I've leveled before, namely that I really think Team XD should start going in for a slightly greater amount of focus on a single highly damaged opponent rather than splitting focus, or at least being a bit more mindful of when it's a good idea to just go whole hog focus, would lead to more enemy character kills, and as a result would lead to improved win rate. I kind of see their logic though. Like, it has helped in several cases where it's like splitting the pressure has caused their opponents to entirely be cowed, and as a result has won them rounds, and in one case won them maps. But at the same time, it just feels like there's a bit more of a bias towards splitting towards changing target than sticking on target. And I just think like a slight, like, I don't know, like 5% shift towards sticking on target would be a huge boon without ruining the strength of target switching that has been shown time and time again. Like right now, I can see why you wouldn't necessarily want to focus on Proster. They're kind of in the back lines, but at the same time, they're heavily damaged. If you put a combo on them instead of putting it onto Bloom, you'd get a kill instead of losing your destiny. That's kind of my point. I mean, of course, that assumes you can actually manage to get that hit. But if you can get that hit, then yes, that is exactly what I'm saying. If you get that hit, you get the damage off that hit, you get the value off the hit. I mean, not a bad cross kill coming in from Clarinet. I just don't see it. Clarinet's a somewhat aggressive Paloma player. We didn't see him as aggressive in the Battlerite Asia recap, but they can be an aggressive player. It's in them to be. They just aren't always, or necessarily, or often. But hey, when they are, it's pretty cool. Still though, this Space Station Gaming is doing a very convincing job on this map, and a lot of it, again, just comes down to the fact that Croak doesn't have the walls to play with. And if they don't have the walls, then their opponents can see when they go camouflage, and they have a better idea of what's going to happen. And also, the Frog Leap doesn't have as much room to play with. So yeah, it limits the options that you can have with Croak. But at the same time, there's still pressure. I mean, Hisgram is still able to do a lot of pressure. Pinky's still able to follow it up. So that's a thing. It still exists, and it's still relevant. And that counter gets completely whiffed. Nicely done. Team XD should be able to take this. I mean, they've got this. So, no, they're still on the board. Doing a fine job. Again, you take out Averse, or you take out Proster, and everything else follows. I mean, usually Averse is the focus, but either way, it follows. Ah, crap. So, round 4, Team XD on the board, and Space Station Gaming pushing in hard. Ooh, is that a counter? Oh no, oh I see, nice. Counter, stop the in-cap from coming in the first place. Cancel off the wall. Yeah, Jamila can cancel her Lucid Strike when it hits the wall, before it shoots off again in case you want to avoid counters. It does mean you don't get the in-caps though. Regardless, the sheer amount of pressure coming in from Space Station Gaming is still enough. Like, it doesn't really matter. I mean, just, again, Averse, Proster together. The rounds that Team XD has been able to win are the rounds they've been able to split their opponents. And while I'll admit that Hisgram's pressure on the backline has been doing a really good job of that, it's sometimes not been able to do it as effectively as needed, and this is one of those times. Space Station Gaming taking round 4, putting them 2 rounds away from winning the entire series. Like 2 more rounds like this, they've got it in the bag, and they can go home. I don't know if I did that showing off the time bar, so it was less obvious exactly how that was going to go. But, yeah. Regardless, it's not over yet. Space Station Gaming still need those 2 rounds. Team XD still has plenty of time. And they do have ways of getting in. Ooh, nice. Okay. Could use Magnetic Orb to push their opponent away, but unfortunately not much of a follow-up to it. And again, that's what it's kind of coming down to, is there's been some good hits here and there, some good positions, some good separation. Although on this map, it's kind of hard to say. Like, what it's expecting to happen on Skyring Night is exactly what's happening here. Space Station's able to stay together. They're able to get their follow-ups going, and they're able to stop their opponents from splitting them up in order for their opponents to be able to get highly effective hits in. Skyring Night, there was actually a lot of splitting going on, which made Team XD win nearly 5-0. But on this map, the center is so open, it doesn't even matter. And once you get outside of the center, it's again so open that Space Station Gaming is able to totally pull it off. This could still be a round towards Team XD, however, it's close. The pinball, unfortunately, going wide after hitting the Iva. I mean, Clarinet's able to survive. If they can get those greens, then this is an amazing position to be in. I mean, Bloom, they're so close to being taken out. Ooh, all that being said, EX space coming in there from Proster could be enough. And there's the other side to stop the time travel. Brilliantly done on the other side. But unfortunately, that isn't enough. Man, those Jamila incaps. Those Jamila incaps just winning it for Space Station Gaming. Team XD had a huge advantage going in this. And even now, there's still an outside chance, actually. And without meter, I mean, it's going to be another 8 seconds as well. Oh, sorry, Proster has meter, but it's going to be another 8 seconds before they can get another one of those EX strikes. But the orb, Ooh, where's the orb going to? Nah, I thought it was going to be Ghost Wolf. Ghost Wolf, I think would have been able to take that. But, yeah, that's not going to happen, unfortunately. Ooh, nice soul transfer. Not quite avoiding the Phantom Cup, but still a neat little idea. But yeah, that puts Space Station Gaming at map and match point, and I mean, that last round, Team XD did almost have it. It's just, we are seeing where Jamila becomes an extremely effective champion, especially in more open maps like this, where they can just shoot out, shoot back, get a bunch of end caps. That was basically what won it last round, and that's coming in here as well. There's the end cap onto Clarinet going in the back. Well, more so, end cap and Clarinet so that they can attack his ground without his ground being healed. Still a good idea. Still works reasonably well. And hey, want to have some time travel in there to boot, just to apply even more damage. Like at this point, it's just Team XD locked in that corner, not able to really take advantage of the Croak or the walls or anything, just being kind of bodied. So yeah, I do see where Croak is useful situationally map-wise, but I do feel like there is a clear limit to how well Croak can work. And I think Jamila is the better option overall. Except maybe on maps like Scouring Knight. Scouring Knight, no, Jamila does not have a way of getting over the walls in the way that Croak does. Anyway, though, yeah, that's sort of my analysis, I guess, in a nutshell, is the Asian meta seems to be a lot more focused on bringing their opponents to them and then punishing them, rather than going forward and getting a bunch of burst combos, compared to the NA and EU meta, which, again, can work really well against the burst combo meta. We did see a few rounds here where the fact that the Korean approach, or the Asian approach, I don't say Korean, I mean, yes, those two teams were Korean, but that's beside the point. The Asian approach, or no, Pinky's not. No, Pinky is, never mind. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm fairly certain all the players in those teams were Korean. No, it's one of them from Singapore. Can't remember which one. Anyway, the point is that, in a nutshell, the Asian style is a bit more defensive. It's a bit more defensive and then counterplay. Like, let them come to you and then tear them to shreds, which can be very effective. It's also very focused on splitting targets to maintain pressure kind of on everybody, which is one of those things I found a little more questionable because, yeah, it does that. It's not a bad idea. But at the same time, it's also sometimes a situation where I see, like, a slightly more concentrated focus would have led to a character death on the opposing team, which would have led to a round win. And it wasn't happening as much. It's much more, that's where the burst focus comes in from the NA EU meta, is that concentrated focus to get the damage in. It's like, there's a few times where I saw, like, there was an opportunity for damage, and then, say, a Jumong shot, steady shot at another character, like, at a support, rather than firing at the target that everyone else is focusing on. Stuff like that. But otherwise, I'm actually quite impressed. Like, yeah, everyone was holding their own pretty well. Team XD in particular, but even Cinnabro, like, they managed to get some good shots. And granted, that was also, like, well, no, versus Impact versus Space Station Gaming. No, that was still some hard opponents. So, I'm quite impressed. I just, like I said, as far as what is not being done, it's like just, I think just a bit more concentrated focus. If your teammates have gotten a combo off, they're getting one of your opponents kind of focused down, just keep focusing them. Like, go for that focus. I mean, it's a judgment call. There are times you want to split focus in order to apply pressure. It's just a little bit less often than it's being done. Like, looking at the way that the NA and EU teams play it out, they tend to be a lot more directly focused, and that tends to win games. Because if you can get rid of one character, the game is basically yours in most cases. Unless your team is taking a lot of damage and a cross kill can happen. If you get rid of one character, it's pretty much over. Or the round is basically yours. Anyway, that aside, I hope you appreciate that. Or, damn it, wow. Wrong way to phrase that. My bad, let's try that again. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your watching. Totally did it backwards. Hope you enjoyed that. I appreciate you watching. Thank you for watching. That's what I wanted to say in the first place. Got brain mixed up between words. Hope you appreciate that, you ungrateful ass. No, I'm kidding. Seriously, though, thanks for watching. Have a good night. And the Battlerite Asia number 8 will be next week, if I'm not mistaken. that I don't plan to be sick. I didn't plan to be sick last time, but I definitely plan to be sick this time. So next week, Battlerite Asia number 8. Sign up. There will be stuff in the Discord and other places for announcements for that. That'll be casted live, not through recaps, and that should be very interesting. The second post BPL BR Asia. I think number 7 was the first one. So yeah, that's that. Hopefully my analysis was of some use, or at least was entertaining to listen to, or made you rage at your screen in an entertaining way. Either way, hope you enjoyed it again, and have a good night, everyone.